Hello, everyone, and welcome to the PTA Podcast. I'm one of your hosts, Brian. We also have Jake with us today.
Hello, Eternal Returners. Haruichi here.
And we also have with us Jess, or Iva Senpai.
Hi everyone, your resident VTuber and host.
All right. And today for our podcast, our main topic will, of course, be, the patch notes for Eternal Return. This week we have patch 35.0. Brings with us a new character, William, as well as a plethora of balance changes, including some cool things like we have two new unique item effects and then we also have a new bat and a new throw weapon added to the game. So that'll be what we're covering today. But let's go ahead and start off with how the game is currently at right now. Let's talk about the state of the game. What do you guys? Oh, and then also, again, just for preference, this is of course going to be coming from a duos and squads perspective. We don't normally play solos, so take this for a grain of salt. If you're like, oh my god, that's so wrong, could totally be wrong for solos. This is definitely from a duos and squads perspective.
I'm actually really excited for this patch as well. But currently, the way the game is going on right now, I feel like I'm not really happy with the changes to Halo, especially as an Adriana player. But that's just me. And also, I don't feel like the blazing dress change really does that much damage yet to really notice the difference. I think we've done some shenanigans where we've ran around some people, just not attacking them to see how much health they actually lose. And I think you can actually out heal the damage of the dress as well.
Yeah, and then of course losing Blazing Dress for characters like Rozzy definitely feels like she's not the same character she used to be after Blazing Dress got changed.
Right, I agree with that too. I know that I played with a Jackie player earlier today, and right now Blazing Dress, the way it is right now, is currently best in slot for Jackie too, which is surprising. Dual sword, that is.
For Jackie, huh? I don't think I've seen a Jackie with Blazing Dress, but I guess that could make sense. I guess the only other thing I would think of would be a defensive chest piece for her. Yeah, because she doesn't really go damage, because you would go Cabana or Amazonas for defense. Yeah, I guess that kind of makes sense, because Blazing Dress still gives attack power. So it gives the most attack power of any chest piece right now. Oh, wait, no, actually, that's incorrect. No,
No,
Rockers would be 28 and
yeah.
Blazing's 25.
Yeah, I've seen a Rockers Jackie. That's why he was originally running, and then he upgraded from Rockers into Blazing Dress, actually.
Any complaints about any characters in the current patch? Any characters seem a little strong?
In the current patch, I definitely have a few complaints. Seems like the name of the game right now is Skill Lamp and CC. Seems like a lot of teams and duos are running someone who has CC and then someone who has Skill Lamp. And usually the Skill Lamp is what's running the meta right now, for duos and squads at least. So one character in specific that I'm talking about is Jukai.
Yeah, Jiga just seems a little busted right now. Personally, to me as well, he's like one of those characters too, where he and I know that they were talking about it too, where he in somewhat a little bit of the patch, just dipping in a little bit, that he was getting a lot of just late game, even though he didn't actually need kills, he would just go into late game and he just was really tanky and it was hard to kill.
Yeah, for someone who doesn't play the game against other characters, he just kind of plays a crafting simulator. Seems like his damage is a little high for not interacting with other players, because what's the counterplay is just you have to press tab, see Jukai in your game, and be like, oh my god, where could he be cooking? Of like the 4 popular spots, right? You got Pawn, Dock, Hotel, and Beach. I think are like probably his most common ones.
It's like that one meme that I posted in one of the discords that I'm in, and it's literally when you see Jukai food in a bush, and you go, oh wait, when you see Jukai food in a bush, oh no. Because he's stacking up somewhere. He's gonna be unkillable. And then just on top of that too, though, a Jukai who makes fish and chips, that's just so. I think there was a game that we had where you had 5k health. I think that's just kind of ridiculous for a Jukai.
Yeah, and then I still took like 3.5k in damage, and yet the fight was over at that point. Like, can you imagine you do 3,500 damage to one character and they still have, 1,500 health left? Like, that's just not even. I don't think that's cool. But yeah, so it seems like the amp is different, or sorry, the meta is definitely amp heavy right now. It feels like your premier auto attackers for team modes are like Nadine, was Razi, and then you have your Enad characters, right? You had Heart, Aya, and Isol. It feels like Nadine is gated from her auto attack builds because of her damage reduction in team modes. Totally fine to go auto attack Nadine in solos because she does the full damage in solos. But in squad modes, considering she's cut down to 84%, her auto attack's lacking. We touched on Razi losing Blazing Dress in team modes. A lot of her damage is now missing because of that. And then Enad characters, Aya's been hit with a couple nerfs. We know there's a buff coming for her again in this patch. She hasn't been hit nerfs damage wise. It's more like survivability. Her shield doesn't come up as quickly a second time in a row in a sustained fight, as well as her E cooldown got touched a little bit. And then Isol actually has received several nerfs on his Q damage, so he's not as much of an early game oppressor. So he doesn't necessarily resort to auto attacks as much as traps currently for his gameplay. And then you have Heart, who recently got nerfed with her Q when she charges it up, which is her main damage ability besides her auto attacks. With her now slowing herself if she ever tries to use that ability. So it seems like all the auto attackers have been hurt pretty hard.
And I haven't seen any Heart players actually since she's been hurt as well. Now thinking back at it, like maybe you'll see like the one Heart, but other than that, I don't think I've seen her as much anymore ever since last patch.
And then interestingly, right, Rio came out this last patch, and then we have William coming out this patch. So you would think, Rio kind of looked like the flashy, kiting auto attack character. I will say, played I believe I almost hit 60 games on Rio in these past 2 weeks. She's not as good as an auto attacker as she is as an amp character right now, because she's got some issues with her auto attack builds. And right now her amp in team modes, because it's her W is AoE, her knockback ability has like 4 procs, so it just abuses flat amp so well. She just doesn't fit like the auto attack dream, so she's just kind of, I don't know if it's an item thing either. It could just be amp items are better, so that's why she's kind of defaulted to amp. But yeah, she didn't really work out as an auto attack character. And then William coming in, it's kind of like, well, we see how other auto attackers are right now in the meta, so I'm not hopeful or not optimistic on him in team modes as an auto attacker, but we'll see. Not saying he'd go amp, but I'm just saying like auto attackers are kind of not in a good spot right now.
I still have some beef with a specific item, actually. And
What's the beef?
the same item that has needed to be nerfed for a while. It got a little bit of a hit a couple patches ago. It's a crown, Imperial Crown. Who
Imperial
isn't
Crown?
taking Imperial Crown? Who
Everyone-
isn't
everyone
building
thinks
Imperial Crown?
Everyone's building Imperial.
Yeah, I remember when Burgonet was nerfed a couple times and then Crown got buffed afterwards, because Burgonet used to be like God, what was it? It was like 20% amp. You give a ton of CDR. That was kind of like the meta amp headpiece, and then yeah, just turned into Crown. Gives a lot of HP. That's also really specifically for crit characters. Crit is really good at abusing squishy characters, but even squishy characters have Crown. So like, there's just so much HP on characters that it's hard to kill people before they.
Yeah,
get
it's
away.
really the crown is really enabling these amp characters, in my opinion, because they can just go, oh, I don't have HP in my build. Wait, I have crown. I have 320 extra HP. It feels like it's a bit too much HP for 10% amp.
Well, the other thing I was also thinking about with the current state of the game, though, I know that I don't know how much changes we'll be seeing to Crown, but talking about the current state of the game, also, I know that one of the prior predictions that we had actually was not as good. We were concerned about the number of drop rates on Mithril and the drop rates on finding Moonstone and such like that, and we have blood samples through like the animals, and I've noticed that I actually have been getting more at higher levels after the animal farm kills.
Yeah, I suspect, because I did notice that too immediately after the patch. I suspect there was a bug that was not listed in the patch notes, because I felt like we all agreed that the drops just weren't there. But now the animals, it feels like they're actually dropping later on. Yeah, Unless we were just
Yeah.
the most unlucky people, like three different people, three different experiences in a vacuum. Like, yeah, it felt like maybe a bug got addressed or whatnot in that situation.
Everybody knows that I'm the most unlucky person with
Yeah, the
meat,
yeah,
with
open the green
knives
box.
in dock, literally everything. I can't find a single a single leather, a single knife in
He
dock.
like opens up the green box and it's one hamburger. It's like the worst thing you could get from a green box. Just one hamburger.
And then I don't have the patch notes in front of me. Did we when did we get that new hammer? The Sui hammer? Was that the Rio patch as
That
well?
was that was the real patch as well. Yeah.
Now, what do you guys think about that? Because not gonna lie, I don't think I've seen any Suas or almost no Suas with that item. Like, not that they didn't build the item, I just haven't been seeing that character, and I thought
I
that
I've
item
s-
was gonna be insane on her.
I've seen more so
11. I think
11, yeah,
I
Lily
think I've
Pichu.
seen 11. Yeah, I
Seen
think
more
I've
Lily
seen
Pichu on that weapon.
agreed as well. I think I've seen more 11s build that weapon rather than Sua. Um, maybe it's just routing. I'm not sure, but I still don't see, and I don't see Magnus either. Magnus still builds Spy Umbrella as his best. Um, and of course, Luke still builds the mallet as his best as well, until they switch to Monkey King Bar. But yeah, I don't see much of that new hammer as well. The other weapon, what was the other weapon that came out that we don't see as often anymore either?
Uh,
Was that
they added like a mithril tonfa, but
yeah.
I don't remember if that's the one you're talking about.
Yeah, I hardly see Tonfa either, actually.
Yeah, and then so have you guys seen any Alexes since they have you seen any Alexes doing flashing plays, switching back and forth between the weapons after those changes?
Actually, now that you talk about it, no, I don't think I've seen much Alex's switch between weapons that much anymore.
I just
Like
haven't
they're
been seeing Alexes.
yeah, in general, actually, now that I think about it, in
When
general, I haven't seen him.
when I do see an Alex, it seems like Plasma Tonfa is mainly what they're going now instead of trying to rely on just holding onto a sword. I don't think they're switching to pistol or shuriken though. But Plasma Tonfa definitely seems like the way that they're going, and yeah, it hasn't really performed very well. I don't think in any of my games.
And then the new biotic infusion effect added on to it was Elysian Halo and Mask, Opera Mask. That's the one. What do you guys think about that effect being added to the game? Insane, OP, not good enough.
I feel like for me, it felt like a bait the whole time because I was playing Razi and learning Razi at the time before the patch came out. When the patch came out and Blazing Dress no longer gave Enad, it became a struggle. And I thought Biotic Infusion would help with Razi's damage. It doesn't really. I'd rather just have the attack power.
So the other thing also um, is with Elysium Halo, I just don't see that many people build it no more either. To be honest, I think like maybe one or two characters can really actually use Elysium Halo as well as Chinese Opera Mask, and I just don't see the value in building it into any of most of the characters that I play, which are like skill amp. They don't bother using those items actually.
Also, the one of the other things they added in the last patch was resin and team modes. Does that change the game flow at all?
I think it helps. I think it's nice to be able to res your teammates because then you're not just one person sitting there for a very long time. I did get trolled, by the way, by Mike Chen one time. He was like, "Oh, go stand in the red and we'll res you and you'll get your timer back." That's not the case. You don't get your timer back. I was res. I went back into the red to get my stuff and I insta exploded.
So yeah, no, I think we've won a game by resing at least once or twice because the way that it's helpful is that in early game, if you die to someone griefing you or something, you get resed. But I don't think it works out for mid to late game because at that point you have too many items, too many zones are closed, and you're not going to be able to come back and be a useful character.
Yeah, I agree. I think the res is really only relevant in the beginning of the game, and then if it's, I would say probably Wickeline spawn. If you're getting res after Wickeline spawn, it's not consistently useful. It's yeah, whoever you're resing is kind of gonna be a handicap. Better than them being dead, I suppose, but yeah, they're definitely not threatening. If you kill someone, full kill them, you should feel fine walking away from their body. And I mean, you can even just take an item or two, because like you're saying, zones are closed. If you take a couple items off their body and then just leave them, and you're like, yeah, go ahead and res them. I don't care. They're missing their items. They're not gonna be able to build them again.
That's true as well. You put them behind or put them on poverty, and you know the most that they could probably benefit into the team is maybe crowd control. But even then, they're so squishy. As soon as they get res, they get that 2 bread and water and just their weapon. It's just not very efficient as well. The other thing I did really want to talk about, to change the subject real quick though, is tenacity. How like I'm thinking about this stuff, but how many people still build Mavericks? Like, think about that. I don't think I've seen anyone build like actively go, I'm gonna build tenacity.
Yeah, I haven't seen it either. As good as crowd control is in the game right now, as fight turning team fight winning as CC is. Yeah, I don't see Mavericks. I think it's because it's too hard to build, not enough tenacity, not enough stats behind the tenacity.
Yeah, I'd agree. I definitely just think that there's not enough stats to back up buying tenacity. Where like in League, if you get Mercury treads, it gives you resist from spell amp, right?
Mm-hmm.
So what are you getting from Mavericks that you can't get from other boots?
Yeah, 10 attack power and just basic move speed.
Yeah, 10 attack power is clearly not enough, as we all know from the the accessory they added to the game, Hawkeye.
Dude, the Hawkeye is just I don't see Hawkeye at all either. Talking about Hawkeye, talking about tenacity, EOD boots, like maybe EOD boots every now and then I'll see an EOD boot, but beyond that, I don't think despite right now this current patch right now being so crowd control heavy, I don't think I see anyone building that stuff. And even with EOD, I don't think anyone actively really builds it unless they like open it and it's in a gold box and it's like, oh, we might use this, maybe. But even then, like, there's not many people who actively build EODs or Mavericks. Like, I don't think I've ever, like I said, I don't think I've ran into one single person who's built Mavericks at all. So, Mavericks just irrelevant.
Yeah, because Tachyons are basically EOD boots with CDR, so why not just build Tachyons?
That's true. That is so much better and easier. You can get the CDR as well. I think this is a good time to go ahead and go over the patch now as well, though.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking as well. All right, so got a quick look here. Probably won't take too much time because we're just gonna go over all the specifics. But we got Williams up first. We'll go ahead and skip over him. We'll come back to him afterwards.
We have to stop for the skins, right?
Of course, we gotta stop for the skins. Lennox is getting a new skin. This character refuses to put her arms in her sleeves whatsoever.
But I love her, regardless. She looks amazing in her skin. I'm just so excited for the skin to come out.
Real gangsters don't need sleeves, Brian.
Well, she's got sleeves. She just doesn't use them.
Real gangsters don't.
Just wear a cape.
But think about this though. Like every gangster that you've seen, like they don't put their arms into their shirts. They rest them over your shoulders. Dude, that's how you know you're a true gangster.
It is true though that a cape is way less intimidating than a coat, where you're just not putting your arms in.
Yeah, but you're a modern day gangster. You're not with a cloak,
Alright, they're adding a new daily missions guide for new players. I'm just going to go ahead and skip over that. It's not super important. The replay system is going to be available for limited amount of players. They said they don't want to overstress the system, so they just want to start out with a couple players. It says if no significant problems arise, the full release should not be far off. Alright, and now we're going to go ahead and get into some character balance. So they said they're addressing region builds and adjusting defense mastery. They're trying to decrease the time to kill in the late game. They're saying that there's too much regeneration in the late game, that it just takes too long to kill people. So right now they're just increasing every character's HP by 60, reducing everyone's HP per level by 3. So at level 20 you have the same HP as before, but early on you just have more HP. So time to kill is going to be higher in the early game just because everyone's got more HP to work with. everyone's getting more attack power per level, just upright. Everyone, just straight up, everyone's getting more attack power per level. And then healing reduction has been increased, both by how much the healing is reduced and for how long the effect lasts. So if you auto attack someone, instead of it being a debuff for 3 seconds, it'll last for 4 seconds. And then range characters is going from 25% anti-heal to 30%. Melee is going from 40 to 45. Yeah, not too much to say there. Like, they've already kind of stated it. They just want the time to kill to be quicker in the late game. They don't want people surviving super long just because of food and like regeneration builds. So
I feel like that'll definitely help with the Jukai, killing Jukai, teams.
Through Jukai food. Yeah.
Yeah, Jukai food.
The Jukai foods.
They said last patch hurt Nadine a little too much when they nerfed her passive stack, so they're giving her 1 extra stack per chicken now. Her scroll traps no longer last as long, so instead of lasting a full minute, they're gonna last 45 seconds.
I'm glad they don't last as long. I'm sick of seeing the squirrel traps.
Linux has some interesting changes. She's getting different build, different recipes for her Gluttonier whip, which was always Avenue Beach. So they're making some changes to her character. A little bit more SP regen. Her passive comes up a little bit quicker, but her passive you literally never level until last. So unless they ever change her to actually have a legitimate auto attack whip, this doesn't matter. So anyways, if you ever max out her passive, it's going from 12 seconds to 10 seconds before the shield comes back up. Her ult, the delay between the 2 slashes going down just a smidge. So the second slash after the first is gonna just be a little bit quicker. But again, yeah, she's getting some changes to her whips. We'll talk about those later on. Leon is currently a little bit bursty, so they're trying to flatten out his burst and then kind of smooth out his power curve for the late game. So they don't actually make changes to help his late game, but they're hitting his burst this patch. So his W's losing 20 damage, flat damage when you max it out. This is the ability you usually max first when you go Frost Pedal. This ability, the damage is applied 3 times though, if you get 3 autos off, so losing 20 damage is actually losing 60 damage. His E, they're taking off 40 damage when you max it out. This is actually the last ability you max, so this is like a level 20 nerf, so probably more aimed at solos. Also says, let's see, when Leon resurfaces in a location with no pool, due to using E on impassable terrain, Leon creates a pool where he resurfaces. Alright, cool. So they're just hitting his burst a little bit. I mean, I like this. He's kind of just strong in Hotel, but when it's not around Hotel, I feel like he's kind of a fair character, but when you're fighting him in Hotel, it can be a little obnoxious. Rozzy losing a smidge amount of move speed. Her passive's doing a little bit less damage. Instead of her second shot doing 80% damage, it's doing 70% damage at level 9 now, since you max this first. Rio. Let's see what they say here. They say, we took a long look at Rio following her release and concluded that her actual gameplay could use some adjusting. We're trying to avoid the nuke, in quotes, and focus on her sustained damage for longer fights. So, I'm assuming this is in reference to she generally plays better as an amp character rather than an auto attack character. So let's go ahead and see what they did here. They're taking off 4 base attack power from her off the get-go, but they're compensating with 3 defense as well as 5 HP per level. Her short bow, the one that attacks 2 times, their translation here is a little bit confusing, but it says the normal attack frame is going from 0.23 seconds to 0.13 seconds. Not sure if this is going to be the delay before attacking, the delay between the second shot coming out after the first, because it's a 2-part auto attack, kind of like how assault rifle is a 3-part auto attack. I'm not sure exactly what this means. It just sounds overall that the attack will be smoother. Just gonna kind of have to see how that works out in game.
So from a fighting game perspective, because I was a fighting game player, so from that perspective, it seems like the frames will just come out faster. She'll be launching her projectile faster. It won't necessarily come out faster, but it'll seem like she's smoothly attacking faster.
And then they're adjusting her damage as on her 2-part auto. They're shifting it from both autos being equal damage to the second auto being slightly higher damage. So instead of at max rank it being 52%, it's going to be 50% to 54%. Just a small nudge, making sure you don't cancel your autos a little too early because you want to get that second second arrow in for the full damage. The Longbow version, this is the one where it has higher attack power, has negative attack speed though when you switch to the Longbow one. They're making the negative attack speed not as severe. It used to be minus 30%. Now it's going down to minus 25% attack speed. They're also hitting the attack power of it a little bit though. You're losing 6%. So instead of it maxing out at 126% of your attack power, it's only going to be 120%. Her E, so this is her jump over walls, jump away from characters. They refund the cooldown of the ability when you hit when it fires an arrow at an enemy. So normally this ability has a 10-second cooldown, is not affected by cooldown reduction whatsoever. When you've used the ability close enough to an enemy, it'll fire off an arrow. If you successfully fire off an arrow like that, it gives you reduced cooldown. So they're just adding 1 second extra onto that cooldown. So it's not quite as much free cooldown when you hit someone with it. Basically, it just means you won't be able to jump as often.
Right. They also, real quick though, to interject, they did on the minor patch. They did give her a small nerf to her W too. So she's getting a small nerf. Where she had that small nerf, and then just these little minor changes as well.
Yeah, the change to her W, it was her Longbow W. They added 2 seconds onto it. That ability refunds 70% of the cooldown, and that ability is affected by cooldown reduction. It basically meant you couldn't just keep mashing your W key, and there was just a little bit of time spacing between it. So you couldn't just blow up a team by smashing the W key and chugging SP drinks. You kind of had to wait a little bit. Basically, people would be like, "Oh my god, wait, what did we just get hit by?" And then they could make a decision before the second one comes flying out. Whereas before it was you got hit, and then the second one's almost immediately coming right after the first.
These changes will be really good. It'll help balance out Real a little bit more and make her not as squishy as well. She was really squishy. We were talking about that as well.
Yeah, and then this is probably my favorite change out of all of these. We'll have to see how it goes because I'm not sure if this means what I hope it means. So her ultimate, she's got the rapid fire 3-shot plus the 4-shot knockback on her short bow, and the long bow is kind of like an ashel, but instead of stunning, it's like a slow. They said the hit range is going from 1.2 to 1.5. I always complained for the longbow, not for the short bow. The short bow was just fine for the ultimate. The longbow felt like the hitbox on the ultimate was way too thin. Way too thin. Like, incredibly skinny. You would just see it, like, go almost through people, and you'd be like, wait, how did that not hit? So I'm hoping this is an increase in the width, but it says hit range, so I'm not sure what exactly they mean. But my hope is that it's the width on the hitbox.
The only concern that I have is it says Bleeding Soul / Spirit Arrow. So is this on both?
Yeah,
you know?
So my guess is
I
didn't have an issue. I don't think it matters because for the short bow one, the person you're trying to hit is like really close to you, so it's hard to miss. It just means maybe if you're slightly off to the side of her and you're like, oh my god, wait, did my ult really not knock them back there? It might mean that they're more likely to get knocked back. It's when you're in melee form or when you're in melee range though, that probably really isn't going to matter a whole lot, in my opinion. This was kind of like her short bow ultimate was like her main burst damage for amp was you would actually switch to short bow just to fire off your ultimate for like a lot of damage. I never really had a hard time landing that ability. It was more for the longbow ultimate was just like really skinny when you're trying to get people who are running away. Magnus, essentially nothing changed, just some attack power scaling decrease on his W. Barbara does less damage when hitting both parts of her W, went from 130 to 120%. By the way, guys, feel free to interrupt me if there's a change you think is important and I don't think it's important. So,
no worries.
Sua.
I think the Barbara hit was fair. I think that's pretty normal. They're still trying to do the same thing they've done with her in every patch since she's come out, and it's to curb that play style of just pressing R and slapping your keyboard with W. You know.
Yeah. So Sua, they're making it less rewarding to be bad at her. They're lowering her damage from her passive. This was when you used an ability, you just got a free like a sheen proc with your auto attack. So you could completely miss your ability, but you still get the sheen proc. So they're making it to where the sheen proc on her passive doesn't do as much damage.
Called an empowered auto, sir.
Ah, Cicella. Now this one, I'm a fan of. It's gonna hurt a little bit, but I'm a fan of. Her ultimate is no longer global. It's only people who are in the same zone as her. But for anyone who didn't know, she doesn't get full weapon mastery from hitting people with her ult. It was only 30% mastery gain for the damage dealt. Now it's 100% weapon mastery for damage dealt. So if you're in a zone with 6 people that are like you're about to third party a team, and like there's 6 people in there, and you ult, that's gonna be way better than ulting when there was like 15 people alive. You're gonna get way more weapon mastery from that. So I am a fan of this change, actually, mainly for the weapon mastery part, because that's really all you kind of used your ultimate for. Like you would get the like my last Cicella game, I got a random kill with that. That doesn't mean I'm super excited. I didn't feel like, oh my god, I'm so good at this game because I got a random kill with my ult. I'd rather be more excited about fighting people. So, anyways, I was gonna say like ulting for weapon mastery was all you really used it for. So now you can just be like, oh, we have vision in this area. Oh, I see that there's a decent chunk of people here. Now I can actually get some decent weapon mastery. In my opinion, that's what I like her ult for. Some people.
I think I like that better too, because it's not like you're gonna go into the end game and go, oh my god, Cicella had like 12k damage, but it was because she just like pressed 6 as soon as, or press R as soon as she has 6. You know what I mean? Like now you actually want to wisely use your ultimate.
And then on the flip side, it means because you would always just randomly get Cicella ulted if there were Cicellas in the game. Sometimes people will be crafting because she had 6. Not everyone's builds are done at that point. Could just randomly interrupt crafts, and that's just obnoxious.
Yeah, and also it's just essentially like stat padding, and now devs are going to be more aware of how much actual damage she does, like useful damage that Cicella actually does.
It's not enough buffer. She needs more buffs. All right, let's see here. Sylvia has gotten a buff for the first time in
since we started.
Since her release, I don't know. Yeah. Hitting all, or I believe it's 15 if that's the correct number. I believe hitting all 15 zones now, instead of getting a 5% buff to her attack speed and skill amp, it's gonna be 10%.
Yeah. So I think that even this patch, doing your Grand Prix is actually kind of important. Getting that extra skill amp, that extra attack speed. I mean, the attack speed's not as important as the skill amp for what I use her for, and I think her optimal playstyle is used for.
I love it for crit. I don't care what you say. I'm a crit Sylvia main.
No, it's all about going fast. You gotta get the glacials. You gotta go fast, and then the 10%. Yeah, 10%. So it's like getting the 10% from Crown, and then you just get an extra 10% on top of the additional that you're getting from each zone. So I think that's it's a great change. Definitely promotes a different play style that's nobody else has in the game. I like it. Uniqueness. I love uniqueness. So.
Yeah, until they release. Oh God, what's it? Jess, are you familiar with that character? The one that has the hacking win condition? I forgot what it's called. It's like J something, right? Isn't it like 2 letters?
Yeah, I'm trying to remember right now.
Because I think their gameplay is go around the map and hack. JP, thank you, chat for that. JP is the character's name. They have like a hacking win condition.
Yeah.
They don't interact with the other player.
It's gonna be PvE for that guy. That guy's gonna be PvE.
All right. Shout out to Cool Cat for the quick knowledge.
He's an OG player. None of us played the other game. Yeah. All right, Adriana. This character's insane. But what are they doing? They're giving her 2 more defense, 1 less meter on her ult range. I see this as a straight buff.
Wait, for real?
Nah. I mean, I see it as a buff because I think 13 meters is still a really far range.
I know people were talking about it before that they felt like Adriana was a little too strong still. I think this is fair. The nice thing about Adriana is like if you're gonna try to use that distance, you can always still E forward and then use it if you're really chasing someone that much.
True.
Cooldown reduction will help as well. So,
you know what I would like to see? You know what I would like to see is the casting range on Cocktail Party be limited by vision range. So, you know, if she has more vision range, she gets more
Nah,
cast range. I think
nah.
that would be
No, no,
good.
no, no.
There's so
that
many
would-
other
I think
abilities
that
in
would-
this
I
game
think
that you
would
could fire
hurt
in a
her.
fog of war.
Yeah, I think that would hurt her too much.
I just don't like Adrian.
Wow. Wow. Okay.
I wish her ult was instant and just spawned out of the ground instead of being thrown.
I think they just remake her Cocktail Party altogether.
No, I love her ultimate.
I wish her
Just give her
burn.
Rumble.
I wish her burn did more damage, like her passive.
Her Q. Oh, the passive burn.
I wish her passive burn did more damage.
I feel like she does need that little bit more. I think the difficult thing is that between burn and auto attacks, I think they want to try to balance that better. Is what it is.
I think it was just
It was like-
regen though. I think the issue was actually
Yeah.
regen. I felt like the burn didn't do that much damage, but maybe it was, and people just heal a lot. So we'll see, because
Like what,
they're
give her-
buffing
See how
regen, the
this-
duration, and the reduction. So
Yeah, we'll have to see how this coming patch comes and see what happens. To be honest.
all right, Adela, also another good spots character. Don't see a lot. Actually, I think that back we do see a lot of her, but I feel like I don't see her perform super well.
Yeah, as opposed to the force that she used to be, where she was just dominating every duos and squads game. I don't know. I've seen a lot less of her since
The
last
best
patch.
Adela we saw today was a sleeping line that was playing Adela, and they just got completely fucking bodied Force.
Yeah, pretty much.
Not to throw shade, I just meant like that's like the best Adela player that I've seen. Haven't run into
I think
fucking
that was Sleepy Lion, I believe, right?
yeah, that was sleeping line.
Mm-hmm.
Well, we did run into
Passan doesn't
Gunner.
really play squads. We like never run into him.
We ran into Gunner on Adela and killed him too.
All right, now we're just bragging. Now.
I'm
Hey,
just.
we also killed
a
speaking
testament to Adela. I'm just saying a testament to Adela on this patch.
has
She's not. I don't think she's as
not been
strong
on
as
the
she
up
used
and
to
up.
be.
So anyways, so they're giving her Qs, her spammable ability, some more attack power, but they're making the combo do less damage. So when you W or E like a pawn or a queen, just does less damage. So the burst combo's down, the spam ability damage is up. Aya, getting a small attack power nerf, decent chunk defense boost though.
It's
So
already really hard to kill.
yeah. ISIL, let's see. The time it takes for him to finish his roll is down, so the distance he goes is going to be more instantaneous. Not instant, but like it'll just be quicker. And then the cooldown on his stealth, going up a little bit. Loses 2 seconds off of it. This is normally the second ability you max, and then you finish your passive off for the late game for the defense shred. If you're going amp ISIL though, you usually don't max this ability at all because you're usually doing W second. But yeah, still it's a small nerf to his stealthing back to back. So I don't think he's super strong right now. I think his I don't think him with traps specifically is OP. I think people that play ISIL think more about traps, if that makes sense. And I think traps inherently are just good items to have. Would you guys agree or disagree with that? Because I want you to know his passive is he arms the traps quicker, and if someone gets hit by a trap, they lose, I believe it's up to 25% defense. I believe it's 5, 15, and 25% on his passive.
It's really good still. I think ISIL is one of those characters who plays to the late game. You know, like that final circle is where he really shines. So I think it's fine for now. I don't think and most of the time, when we are playing with an ISIL, it's very hard for us to find him sometimes to think about it. Like, he has many ways to escape us. He has that stun. As long as he hits his stuff and he can literally kite you away.
All right, Alex, the weapon swapping connoisseur, getting a little bit more move speed on his passive. So this is a 2-second move speed buff when he's within a certain range of people when he stealths. Getting a little bit more defense and melee for him. His melee and range Q are both getting a fixed 50 mana cost instead of it scaling up based on level. I'm gonna stop right there real quick. I don't think Alex has mana problems, so this will be interesting. Yeah, I don't think the changing that to 50 mana is gonna do anything except maybe maybe early game. Yeah, I just don't think Alex has mana problems. W is getting more damage late game when you finish maxing out the ability. This is the last ability you max though, so again, I don't think this changes a whole lot for squads. Just because your XP is limited. Usually you have one ability at 1 or 2 points at most at the end of the game, so this doesn't change a whole lot. His taunt, I believe this is insane. It's 0.2 seconds longer, but I'll tell you what. I mean, the more time you can get people to sit in his ult, the better. The more you taunt into W.
Get your full combo off.
Yeah, I think this is a dangerous ability to buff because this is his best ability.
Yep, I agree.
I agree.
I don't think this is the way you should be buffing this character. I think this ability is what makes his ultimate super good. I think his ultimate by itself is not the greatest. I mean, it's a good ability, but it's hard to get people to sit in there.
Maybe they're trying to push us to build tenacity items.
They're like, oh yeah, we're buffing tenacity this patch, so we're gonna buff his taunt duration. Nope, bad idea. All right, Emma, less defense per level, so she's a little squishier. Her Q does a very small amount more damage. It's a higher attack power scaling. The slow lasts longer, by a little bit if you hit both Qs. No, not game breaking. She's really just kind of more of a W spam character, or at least that's the more obnoxious part. Is W into hat if you're trying to chase her as a melee character. So, I don't think it's changed a lot. The damage isn't really game breaking. The slow, still like the duration is not very, doesn't change a whole lot either. Yuki. Oh yeah, so there's some weapon changes later on. So they're actually nerfing Yuki ahead of time. They're kind of buffing his dual swords a little bit. Would you agree or disagree with that, Jake? I know you've been playing some...
Agree.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I was playing him today. I'm maxing passive. I'm prioritizing my passive with the new changes where he only consumes one button for 2 sword attacks, but applies both the damage to both sword attacks. It's been pretty good. Pretty great.
I like this though. I really do like this better because then you don't see any regen Yukis around. Because then it's like he's more opted to go build something like rockers or something else like that.
Yeah, so they're lowering the base attack power of him. They're giving him 5 extra true damage per button, which is 10 extra damage per auto for dual swords. And then they're reducing the damage on his Q by a decent amount. Jake, with dual swords, have you been maxing this ability after your E or sorry? Have you been maxing Q or W second besides your
Q.
E? Okay.
Absolutely Q. Q still does a ton of burst damage. I 100% agree with this change. It does way too much damage. The Q just does way too much damage.
All right, and then yeah, there's some sword changes later on. We'll get to those when we get to those. Two-handed swords specifically, not dual swords. So this is going to be a 40 damage drop. Well, actually, real quick math. Gaining 5 true damage times 2. That's 10 plus a full button up rotation. So maybe not a buff to dual swords technically, because you're losing 40 damage off of Q, but for your first 4 buttons, if they're all auto attacks, which they're not going to be, you're only getting back 40 true damage. So maybe not necessarily a buff to dual swords, maybe a compensation buff because of the two-handed change. So and maybe just more breaks even with dual swords. Now that I think about that,
and it's only in the late game. Like there's no, it's like, when you rank it up the 3rd time, you're losing 20 attack power or 20 damage on it. Excuse me.
For Q, you're losing 40 damage.
Actually, yeah, total of 40 at the end. That is rough, actually. I think that hurts a lot.
All right, so 11, still the worst character in the game, in my opinion. This is an opinion. I'm sorry for any 11 mains out there.
They don't feel good 11s though.
I haven't seen one good 11.
I think there's a reason. We see more Hyunwoos than 11s in squad, despite 11 being the newest tank, taunter, CC queen she's supposed to be.
Is that because Hyunwoo does damage?
She's just not good. She does no damage, and she's just useless in team fights. Despite for being a stun bot.
Fun fact, that's actually a really good comparison because guess what? Hyunwoo's W doesn't do damage either. Think about that for a second.
It's true.
It's food for thought.
Yeah. It's actually a really good comparison. I didn't even realize that until you mentioned it. I'm like, oh yeah, both of their W's don't do any damage. Actually, I take that back a little bit. There's a small auto attack buff to his next auto when he presses W now, but I mean it's really minor. It's like 15% of his defense, I think. All right. Anyways, 11 changes. More. So this ability used to heal for like 15 health or 20 health or something for like over the course of 8 seconds. Now it's coming up to 35 health over the course of 3 seconds. This is one of those things where it's 3 seconds now before she can pick up a second burger on the ground, so she can get another empowered ability. I honestly think that there should be no cooldown on picking up burgers, and that I think the healing should stack. I don't think it should be 35 healing that stacks. I think it could go back down to like 20. But I think she should be able to pick up multiple burgers and kind of like Sua. You know how Sua can stack her passive multiple times? Yeah, before she procs them. I think she should be able to stack her empowered abilities, in my opinion. She'd probably be insane, but then we could work from there because this character is so fucking bad right now.
Maybe just drop less burgers.
I mean, I think I've convinced myself. I think that would make her an insane character. And then, because people can step on the burgers too, by the way. Enemies can step on the burgers. Right now, you just don't give a shit.
Imagine if you so you'd be able to charge the taunt while charging the Q. I think that would not be a terrible change.
Yeah, and then if she's insane, you could nerf her from there. But I think this character needs a lot of love. Like something is extreme. But anyways, so what they're doing, giving her Q more damage, more flat damage. Again, I really only play the attack, like the crit auto attack variant of her. I believe I maxed W when I did that. But they're giving, so I don't know if you're supposed to max Q first on her as like a normal playstyle. I would assume so. It's the most spammable ability. But anyways, they're giving it 40 extra damage. It doesn't slow her as much when she's charging it up. And when you finish charging it up, it actually has a larger hit radius. Doesn't say by how much, but it has a wider hit range. So maybe that means with your self slow, people don't actually get out of range of you now because it's a bigger hitbox. I'm hoping. Again, her W doesn't slow her. No, not as big of a self slow anymore. Her E lands earlier than it did before. I like this change. I hope it says a little earlier. I actually think it should be way quicker than it currently is. So my guess is it's still going to be a little slow. Because she kind of felt like she was floating in the air. kind of like a Mary Poppins as she's coming to the end of her leap. It just felt so slow currently. Feels like her kit is a little slow. Like you're charging up your abilities, the E takes a little bit to like land on the ground. It just feels very slow, very deliberate, but very slow. So yeah, we'll see. We'll see if she's still the worst character in the game after this. I hope not. I hope. I don't know who would take her place. Kathy. We'll say Kathy's the worst squad's character in the game. I don't know. And for squad specifically. Kathy's pretty fucking bad at squads.
Yeah, Kathy's pretty bad and all across the board right now, it feels like. Zahir.
I almost skipped over him. Alright, R. More damage.
More damage late game.
Yeah, woohoo. Level 16.
They said it's for encouraging people to put more skill points. Were people not maxing his ultimate?
No, they were using it to just get extra chakrams, his W.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Because each hit would generate 2 chakrams for his W.
When it goes down, yeah. When the thing touches the ground, he gets more on his W.
Interesting.
Jackie.
Sometimes they don't even bother to hit you with it.
Yeah, we still like almost never see Zahirs in the game. I played one game of him a day. This is not a character you can just play one game and do well on. So
like it takes time.
It takes time getting used to it.
Yeah, I've seen some amazing Zahir though. Like once you actually run into a really good Zahir, like it's actually you really can't chase a Zahir like that, and they can really put a dent on you.
Jackie, less attack speed buff when she pops her ult. Her ult does slightly less damage for the explosion portion, but the cooldown is a little bit lower, so a little bit more of a spammable back-to-back fighting ability. Not super crazy, but small nudge. Maybe not going to get some of those explosion kills as often now with the lower damage. The scaling's the same, for attack power scaling's the same, just the base damage goes down a little bit. Kathy!
Better in duels than squads though, for Jackie.
For dual swords, yeah, I actually think all of her
Yeah,
weapons, maybe not necessarily dagger. Daggers might have to stick as a solo weapon, but I feel like dual swords, two-handed, and axe are all really good in squads right now.
Well, there was that one build I was running that was the scythe build that just goes skill that takes the overpowered crown, and then you take some skill amp extra skill damage with your shoes, and then you just take attack speed and you take the quiver, and then you take tuxedo, and you just go to town using your ultimate. And I think this helps that build honestly because you're gonna be able to get more ultimates off. I feel like that we're gonna see that build a lot more. I don't know if you guys have been paying attention to Jackie players that build axe, but they've been doing incredibly well with this scythe.
All right, Kathy, a little bit more defense per level. Kiara, they said that they're adjusting some of Kiara's skills so she can focus on using other skills rather than just relying on her E. She has a little bit more base attack speed, which means percent attack speed is more effective. So all you crit user, Voltacletos, all you Voltacleto Kiara players out there with Joyce. Hand of Corruption, her Q, higher attack power scaling, also a higher mana cost though. Her W has a lower cooldown, which is her shield. The attack power scaling on her shield is up a little bit. The damage on the shield is actually down a little bit. Not super crazy. I think having 2 seconds shaved off of the cooldown though is actually pretty big for that. Her E, losing 30 damage off of the E. Let's see. Actually, where do they shift all this damage? So Q is the same except for the attack power scaling. The shield also lost 20 damage, and then the E is losing 30 damage. She might just do less damage overall now, actually. They're saying they're encouraging her using more than just her E, but it looks like they shaved some damage off. Yeah, because they hit the ult as well. By like 5 damage per tick.
They're basically nerfing her across the board is what it looks like.
Yeah, but they're reducing the cooldowns, which I think...
I don't know how I feel about it yet, to be honest.
Her cooldowns were really long. Yeah, we'll just have to see how this is in game. Having lower cooldowns is always nice, but she lost some damage. Yeah, okay. Bowhedron is apparently very strong on every tier, turning down her power and zone control. Her Q, which is her 2 charge ability, she can hold 2 charges. Slow is going from 50% to 40%, and the second part of her E, so the reactivation, like kind of small AOE at the end. Losing 20 attack power, 20 damage at max rank.
They say they single out Bowhedron, but they also affect Shuriken Hedgens. Any Shuriken Hedgen players out there?
Alright, Heart, the move speed, the self slow from her Q is not as severe as it was last patch. Really haven't seen much Heart. I don't even know what this is really going to do to her. Hyunwoo moves a little bit slower, kind of the same Razi treatment, just like a tad slower. His W is now cancels normal attack delay. Okay, so his W is now an auto reset. All right, new weapons. Glove. We're getting a new True Samadhi Fire, so that's like the Tree of Life plus lighter. Getting a new glove that builds out of that, so it's just glove, leather, and then the True Samadhi Fire. 48 attack power has a new effect, Smolder. This effect does true damage based on the enemy's current HP, so not max HP, it is current percent HP. Stacks up to 4 times and it's 2%. We will talk more about this later, but yeah, Glove is now getting a Tree of Life weapon. Before it just had a Mithril String. Pistol, Elegance is losing 30 attack power, so going from 90 to 60, but it has 2 attack power per level now. So the pistol now caps out at 100 attack power at level 20. Things, I believe, the most common characters I see build Elegance are both Sylvia and Aya. It was a Hospital in the Pond build. Kind of thinking we might not see Sylvia build it, but I suspect Aya will actually probably still build this just because her base damages are actually really high. And she doesn't auto attack a super large amount. Anyways, I just suspect that. Basically, it's an Elegance nerf. It's a 2-zone weapon, can't really grief as hard with it now. Electron Blaster losing 3 Enad. It was just an even smaller amount of move speed, kind of unnoticeable. Enad, usually just a more noticeable effect on Razi, since she gets the 2 auto attacks with her passive. Not the end of the world, just kind of a small nerf to her early game. Again, this weapon scales insanely well with the
They're
EMAD per
nerfing
level.
that move. They're nerfing that movement speed, but they're also nerfing her base movement speed, so she'll be a tad slower than.
True. Yeah, that puts her at like a 0.7, losing 0.07. Sorry, move speed. Guitar, the wall. This is the I believe it's Factory Cemetery 2-zone weapon. It's either Factory Cemetery or Factory Chapel. I really don't play Heart. It's getting 3 more attack power. A little bit stronger of a fighting weapon early on. Back before Factory had the teleporter, and Chapel was the only teleporter, Hearts would just fucking kill people in Chapel with this weapon. This weapon was so insanely strong. Has so much attack power. It only had 2 ENAD, despite people using this for the ENAD build. But yeah, Hearts would just fucking kill people in Chapel with this weapon, but it's getting 3 more attack power. It'd be interesting to see if that even matters. Satisfaction, this is the mid-range ENAD guitar. This is the one that has, it's not 2 ENAD, but it's not like the 40 ENAD that Teen Spirit gets up to. Satisfaction, I believe, has like 15 ENAD. It's getting 10% more attack speed. My guess is people just aren't building it. That also might be the reason why Wall is getting buffed. I'm imagining everyone's just going Teen Spirit. There's attack range and scaling ENAD, so I can see why it might be the best guitar in the game. Dagger, there's also a glove skill change. I actually skipped over it. So Dagger and glove skill are both now becoming targeted weapon abilities. So you can't just like auto attack, press D on your keyboard, and you get the free auto reset. You actually have to auto attack and then cast the D ability on the character you want to use it on. So you have to put your mouse over them now. Let's see. Says this change is implemented to solve problems caused by multi on next hit skills queuing at the same time. Not sure what this is. Not a big deal. Fragarak. It's also getting a new item effect. It's losing 5 attack power, small amount of move speed, but every 3 seconds, your next auto attack, if you have Fragarak, is guaranteed to crit. Rapier, Meteor Claymore, also getting that effect. Next, every 3 seconds, your next auto attack is guaranteed to crit. It's losing critical strike damage, and it's a critical strike chance. So, literally just relying on this 3-second cooldown, guaranteed crit. Joyce, I believe this is the Mithril Rapier, getting 3 more attack power, losing a little bit of move speed. Hammer, Weight of the World. This is the new Suo Hammer, the one that referred to Suo Hammer, but I guess Levin's been building it more. It's losing all of its crit chance, but same effect, except every 4 seconds instead of 3. The next normal auto attack is guaranteed to crit. We're getting a new bat. Let's see, this is the blue bat, builds out of short rod and steel. Steel is scrap metal and iron ore, I believe. It has 40 attack power and minus 0.1 move speed. The purple version is short rod, steel, and then you add a glass panel to that. It's 100 attack power, and the next attack is guaranteed to crit. So I believe that's like 4 items we've gotten that have the guaranteed to crit effect on it so far. Crossbow, weapon mastery, the skill amp weapon mastery is going up by a small amount. Ballista's getting less negative attack speed to it. This weapon's still garbage. I have not seen a single ballista since the nerf to the raw attack power. Yeah, trying to make it an amp crossbow. Still have yet to see ballista at all.
I've also noticed they're trying to encourage more crit builds is what they're trying to do, what it looks like.
Well, when you make out an effect that's called guaranteed to crit, or makes your next attack guaranteed to crit, you don't necessarily build crit chance with that. You generally build like attack power and plus that Create of the Night item, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Because if it's guaranteed to crit, you don't need crit chance with it. So I don't necessarily think it's a crit build. Just kind of like more of a high attack power build, plus like a free crit every so often. Shuriken, less attack power scale, not attack power, less auto attack scaling with shurikens, slightly better skill amp scaling with shurikens. Death Rune, this is the Tree of Life shuriken. The recharge time between auto attack refills is going from 24 to 20. Azer Dagger, this is literally only a Zahir shuriken, and I don't even think it's his best one. Not sure, not a Zahir player, but it's getting 2 more attack power. Pedal Torrent is going from 3 charges to 4, but it's losing 5 attack power, 5 ENAD, and 5% critical strike damage. but again, it's going up to 4 charges from 3. Excalibur, now we're on the two-handed swords, getting 50% less HP regen, so going from 200% to 150%, hurting those regen builds a little bit. Dainsleaf, this is the VF Blood Sample two-handed sword. It's also getting the next attack is guaranteed to crit. The cooldown on that is 4 seconds. Levitine, this is the True Samadhi Fire two-handed sword. No longer gives ENAD, no longer gives regen of HP or SP, and it's losing 10 attack power. But it's getting the new Smolder effect, which we mentioned earlier, that glove, the Phoenix Fire, I believe is what it's called, is also getting this effect. So normal attacks apply a debuff that deals true damage every second based on the enemy's current HP. That amount is 2%, and this effect can stack up to 4 times and last for 4 seconds. It's kind of an insane effect. Again, we'll talk about that a little bit later. Sniper Rifle, the Skill Amp Sniper Rifle, which only Aya builds, losing 2 attack power.
That's not big.
Yeah, not the end of the world. Spear, Blazing Lance. This is the True Samadhi Fire Spear. The only character you'll ever see this spear on is, of course, Fiora, as Shukai does not go auto attack. It is losing 25 attack power, losing all of its HP and SP regen, losing its 33 ENAD. I'm going to say right now, that's an insane amount of stats that you're losing as Spear Fiora, because you usually build crit with this. 33 ENAD with that W reset, like auto and then W. It's like 100. It's almost 100. That is like 100 true damage you're losing right off the gate, and 25 attack power. Kind of insane, but you're getting that new effect. Deals 2% of the enemy's current HP as true damage. Stacks up to 4 times and lasts for 4 seconds. Kind of also an insane effect, but this is probably... we'll talk about it later. I think this is probably the most balanced change, though, for all the weapons out there. Because I don't think Levitine got hit hard enough for this new effect. Whip changes. This is just going to affect Linux as the only whip character in the game. Wind Whip, this is the blue whip, I believe, builds out of medallion and fan. You used to need medallion and fan, now you need medallion and feather.
Which is gonna hurt. Two zone, went from 2-zone weapon into.
Sorry, this is the blue one. So yeah, this is still a 2-zone though. So I guess we'll skip ahead a little bit. So Gluttonier, it's gonna become a 3-zone whip instead of a 2-zone whip. The 2 zones, the wind whip you get from going to your 2nd zone, though, they're compensating her a little bit. They're giving the blue whip more attack power. They're increasing it by 12. They are removing the extra skill damage, but they're also giving it move speed. As something that builds out of feather, most feather items have move speed associated to them. Gluttonier, like I said, it's become a 3-zone weapon now. Extra skill damage is going from 40 to 30. But the whip now provides grievous wounds and gives you move speed. So it's a slower weapon to build, less damage on it, but gives grievous wounds. Debatable. Is it more of a grief weapon now than it used to be? Probably not, because it's slower to build. Probably a better fighting weapon though, early on, just because you're really negating healing now for free. But then again, I think when most people had Gluttonier, I believe most people also had White Crane Fan at a similar pace, so kind of already had grievous wounds. Thunder Whip, this is the dedicated scaling whip. It's basically Gluttonier, but for late game, if you weren't going to get a VF Blood Sample. They are now giving it 10 more attack power. It has no skill amp now at level 1, but it gets 2% skill amp per level. So if you ever hit level 20, you have 40% skill amp on a whip. Kind of insane. I don't know if there's any weapons out there that give as much amp as this whip. But I'm still convinced. I don't think anyone's going to build this. Maybe because the competition got changed. So because Gluttonier is a 3-zone weapon now, I believe Thunder Whip's always been a 3-zone weapon. I think you may actually see Thunder Whip now, just because of the competition of the Gluttonier.
Routing.
Yeah. Bloody Ninetails, a little bit easier to build late game. You no longer need the fan. You just need the whip and medallion plus the VF Blood Sample. Throw, the weapon ability lasts 1 less second, going down from 5 seconds to 4. The auto attack scaling for throw weapons is going down a smidge. The skill amp scaling on throw weapons is actually going up though. I would say Sicella buffs again. The weapon mastery farming with her ult. Smoke bomb. This is the I believe it's like the higher attack power Adriana weapon. If you didn't want to go incendiary, yeah, but like harder, like less auto attacks essentially. Anyways, it's getting more charges, so you can hold more auto attack charges now with smoke bomb. Grenade of Antioch. I practically never see this built. I think it's more of a high player caliber thing. I don't know how to phrase it. It's like people have to memorize what it is because most people built 2, and for a beginning player, that's not really something you can ask of them. So if you saw a new player build it, they generally had 1 and they were out of auto attack. So this was really just kind of like a high level player item. But anyways, it's going from legendary to epic, so you get less mastery for building it. It's got less attack power now. It's got 25 less ENAD now, but gets 3 more charges. And also the recharge time on the auto attacks is going down significantly. Sign ball is being changed to the name is changing to autographed ball baseball. So that's literally just fountain pen and your throw weapon. Fireball. So this is fountain pen plus your spawning baseball plus fire trap. So it gives really small amount. It's 18 attack power. And again, this is a purple that gives 18 attack power. It's actually worse than Azer Dagger. But the extra skill damage is 3 per level. So level 20, this weapon gives you 60 flat skill amp, and it's a throw weapon.
We'll talk about it when we get to William later, but I do have some concerns about this that I would like to address when we get to William.
About the flat amp?
About the weapon in general. About what it means for William, what it means for his release.
Okay. But I was gonna say, I think the only 2 characters that'll ever build this would probably be Zahir mainly, and then Solo potentially. Just because Azer throws out so many W's if he lands his Q and E. So it really abuses the flat skill amp. New force core throw weapon being added to the game. My first gut reaction was Adriana finally got the buff she needed because she can't build auto head anymore. Instead, she gets to build a whole new throw weapon that gives even more attack power than incendiary. You're gaining like almost 50 attack power just by changing your throw weapon.
Right, it used to be that if she got a force core, she just built auto arms, but now this is actually something worth building.
So this is ball lightning, which God, I had the recipe before. What is it? It's like carbonated battery, or sorry, is it? Do you know the recipe to ball lightning? It's like steel ball plus dead battery.
No.
I forget.
No,
it's really
battery,
easy.
It's water, battery, and iron ball.
Okay, yeah. So the dead battery you don't need carbonated, so you just need water, battery, and iron ball. So you can get the iron ball from forest. You can get the water from forest. You can get the I'm spacing right now. Battery. You can get the battery from Avenue. If you assuming this is something you build after Wick, where you get the force core. So you get the force core in Avenue on spawn. Get the battery from there. Walk in the forest. You can finish your throw weapon. Bow. Ancient Bolt. This is the red bow that no one knew existed until Rio came out, losing 4 ENAD. So for Rio, because you auto attack twice, it's basically you're losing 8 damage per rotation of autos. I kid you not, like this weapon, a lot of people are like, what the heck is this? And Jake, I believe your words were, wait, I didn't know this bow existed, or something like that.
Yeah, when I found out that it was the highest DPS bow on Rio, I let you know. I was like, yeah, I had no idea this bow even existed.
Armor. Nerfs to some region, compensation buffs to the cooldown reduction. I believe this armor piece was literally only built for the region, so I don't think this armor piece is going to get built anymore. Because
I'm still building it. I'm building it on Shuriken. It routes well with Jade Charm, and then also it's getting more cooldown reduction, so I like it.
Yeah, isn't the build okay? I guess you just don't need a lighter and ice. I would say because priest robes would be the competition in my mind. What do you need to finish this one? So it's monk's robe, bandage, flower. What's the last thing you need for covert agent? Medallion? I think it must be.
No, isn't it just Monk's Robe, Bandage, Flower, and then
For Covert Agent, I think you need Medallion, because it's the one that builds into Mistleton, too, and I think you need a Medallion to finish Covert Agent. Covert Agent's the one after Handbach. The Handbach's the one that builds into High Priest.
You're right, it's a medallion.
yeah.
So Medallion is in Temple, so I'm assuming because of your Shuriken Hedgen, it's like one of the places you go to.
It'd be like Temple, Temple Alley Avenue, then Hospital. Walking through Pond.
Alright, so my mistake, people will be building this. It's losing some regen, gaining some CDR. Suit, so this is the thing before Tuxedo and before Butler Suit. Getting 10% lifesteal. So this is one zonable in Uptown, by the way. If you get your Windbreaker, pick up Twigs, and then you have your Ribbon. This is a blue chest piece that'll give you 15% lifesteal now. High Priest Robes, starting to see more of this item. I've also been building this item a lot more. It's getting 3% more cooldown reduction. Always nice to see, considering this item doesn't give HP like EOD does. Also been seeing less EOD chest pieces. I don't know if you guys have noticed that when you loot bodies. I'm not seeing as many EOD chest pieces as I used to.
Yeah, definitely not.
Blazing Dress no longer gives regen for SP and HP. No more flat regen. It gives more % SP regen now. Not the end of the world. The burn effect they've added the unique effect tag to Flame Barrier, so that obviously implies they're going to be adding more Flame Barrier effects to the game later on, considering this is the only one right now. And they're also increasing the burn damage per second based on your own HP. Leg Maverick Runners getting more tenacity. I'll skip ahead. Boots of Hermes is also getting more tenacity. 5% for both. Still, prediction, not going to see this item ever. I believe we had discussed that the stats behind tenacity don't back it up enough to make you want to build them.
Right.
Straight Jacket's a small amount more extra skill damage. Glacial Shoes, less out of combat move speed. And the Red Shoes, which is the BF Blood Sample plus Killer Heals, a little bit more lifesteal. New headpiece. Real quick. Moto Helm is getting less HP, just overall.
It's 15 less, right?
Yeah, 15 less HP. And then we have a new headgear called Mohawk Headgear. It's a purple headpiece. It's Fire Helmet, which is water, rock, plus the white biker helmet, and then a spiked plank. I've already theory crafted a couple builds. I'm telling you right now, this is going to be a meta headpiece. Anyone that uses a spiked plank in their build is going to be building this. So anyone, yeah, anyone that uses, like Gluttonier, probably not Gluttonier builds, but I believe most people that use spiked planks are going to be using this. I suspect actually. Yeah, I guess she could. I was thinking more like
Whoever's building Burnished Aegis.
Burnished Aegis, yeah, that was the big one. Because this
or trying to build Scotty in late game.
Yeah, so this item gets 315 HP, so it's right next to Crown. Instead of defense though, it gives Natter, which is ENAD reduction, and then it gives you Grievous Wounds. So getting Grievous Wounds on this, a lot of people run White Crane Fan. If you have a Grievous Wounds item that gives HP, so you don't have to run a squishy accessory like White Crane Fan, guess what? You can run like Schrodinger's as your accessory and still have Grievous Wounds. How much HP are people going to have in that? I suspect. This is my prediction. You're giving an HP item Grievous Wounds. That's dangerous.
I can imagine Adriana building this.
We have another troublesome headpiece with a crown, I believe. So, should be fun. Opera Mask no longer gives out of combat move speed. The Sheen proc now does more damage. Laurel Reef now has 10 attack power. Lost all of its HP regen, and the ENAD it gives now is actually 4 less. This is actually kind of a big change to AR characters, considering they get 3 auto attacks or 3 bullets per attack. So losing 12 damage per attack will stack up, because getting 10 attack power as a compensation against characters with defense, you're not necessarily getting 4 damage as compensation per bullet. So Well, it'll be interesting. Doesn't mean any characters that build Laura Reef that have spells though will be doing more damage if they're not completely relying on the Enad from the headpiece. So, Felician Halo, the Sheen proc does more damage based on the enemy's HP. Accessory Hawkeye has been buffed. It is now the best accessory in the game. Don't need to tell you what the buff was, but it is now the best accessory in the game.
Yeah, 0.5 vision, extra vision range doesn't make it the best accessory in the game.
I can see all the way across the map with the extra half vision range that it has given me. I could see everything that you were doing. Tree of Samadhi Fire. For those of you that don't know, most tree of life items, you can actually put in your accessory slot. So if you ever decide to just put the True Samadhi Fire in your accessory slot, it now gives you 10 attack power and 10 defense, but no longer gives you HP or SP regen. Fried Chicken now gives 700 HP healing instead of 650. Again, this is heated oil plus raw meat.
It was the one chicken only though. There used to be 2 chickens.
Meteorite is now become a blue item instead of green. I believe this is probably going to be because of airdrops. Green boxes can only give you food out of airdrops. So changing Meteorite to be a blue item, I believe, makes it so you can get it from airdrops now. Unless I'm mistaken, but I believe that is what this is going to mean.
I'll be honest, I always thought Meteorite was blue because it is blue.
It's been green, which is hilarious when you actually open up a green box and see it.
If you are incredibly far behind, let's say, I don't know, you left your computer for like 30 minutes from the game and you're more than 3 levels lower than someone, you now get bonus experience to try and catch up to them. Once you get that 3 level threshold though, you can't really catch up to them. You're pretty much just gonna be 3 levels below them for the rest of the game. But at least you won't be 5, right? So, anyways, trap mastery. You get a little bit less trap mastery from hitting animals with traps. A little bit less Enad reduction from the defense mastery. I actually don't know if this is the end of the world. Yeah, I don't know much about defense mastery. I only know how to do damage. So, Beach is getting more items just across the board. Just like one more item of different things. Things to note: 1 extra hammer, 1 extra carbonated water, 1 extra bike helmet with that new headpiece they're adding. Kind of important.
You can try to choose on that.
Probably 1 more pickaxe on Beach. Pretty cool. One more pickaxe, 1 more hammer. No more gems though. They're not adding extra gems. Kind of sad, but they're adding extra pickaxe and hammer. Forest is getting a extra pickaxe. It's getting 2 extra feathers. Extra snare. Honestly, could care less.
The feathers are probably because of Lennox though, to be honest.
Yeah, I believe the meta Gluttonier route will probably route through Forest. We're getting an extra snare. Honestly, delete that from the game. It's only for pendulum maxes, and I hate seeing pendulum maxes. 1 extra tight, 1 extra iron ore. Pond is getting an extra hammer. Guys, let's celebrate. Let's celebrate everyone who ever wanted to get hammers from Pond. We now have 8 hammers instead of 7.
The chances are better.
Alright, 1 extra pickaxe, 1 extra short rod, 1 extra flower for all of you who make orchids in Pond. There's an extra flower now. Because I believe there was like a 3 or 4 oriental herb difference. There was like so many more herbs than there were flowers. So it's an extra flower in Pond now.
The ratio.
An extra mousetrap, extra hatchet. Uptown has 2 less cameras now, 1 less lemon, but they're adding 3 baseballs. Alley, 1 less garlic, 2 less binoculars. That makes me sad. I love finding binoculars. And they're adding 3 baseballs to Alley. Hotel is 1 less lemon, but 1 extra needle. That's actually a really big change. There's a lot of builds that need needle from Hotel, actually. So that's actually pretty big.
Let's see. They're moving some things around. Let's see.
Yeah, I believe purple is spawn points. Yeah, purple is spawn points. Blue is box change. Yellow is the same. Blue box change.
You see that spawn right by the console? That's the bad spawn. If there were 5 people at beach, that's the bad spawn.
Looks like in beach they removed some of these boxes along the water, and they're adding them closer to the console and towards forest. Let's see. Forest, they only removed one thing, and that's actually near the Tree of Life and Hotel. They removed a box over there. They added some boxes towards Chapel. Pond removed 2 boxes near the console, but added 3 boxes to the right-hand side of Pond. Oh, and what? Okay, yeah, one. Okay, well, I guess they added another one near the console, just like 2 feet away from the other one. So, beach, you're basically there's less boxes to loot along the water side. You're more incentivized to go towards that car, towards forest. Forest, there's just more loot on the chapel side of forest now compared to before, and pond, there's more loot, kind of like where that boar spawns near the fishing area. So. Not the end of the world. Green air supplies no longer drop 1 stack of food, so when you open it, you're not going to see 1 hamburger anymore. Overall, increase the overall value for air supplies during mid-late game. Not sure what value means. I wonder if that just means better stuff. Like, I better not see EOD. I better not see EOD boosts later in the game from Elo chest. That would be increasing value. Air supplies will now drop more situational equipment, such as battlesuit, lunar embrace, and mithril, based on mithril-based equipment during the late game, and legendary air supplies will appear slightly more. Team mode adjustments. Rio did way too much damage in Duo's squad, finally getting the smackdown that she deserves. William is getting the pre-smackdown before he's even come out.
You're already worried. I worry already.
They hit him so hard before he's even come out in team modes. I was looking at his numbers, and I don't think they're insane. So I mean, I guess we'll just have to see. I mean, he's an auto attacker. Rio was an amped character, so. Adriana is actually getting buffed in duos, doing 3% more damage, getting some of her damage back. Hyunwoo is also getting gutted, or not gutted. Sorry, he's basically losing just about 3% damage in all team modes on both of his weapons. Features on watch. They don't like that Jukai is not killing everyone on the map, but he's still winning the game. So they're trying to increase his kill rate. Something that they aren't doing right now, but they're keeping an eye on. Cool. Not actually cool. And then probably the last big change in the patch is you can now cancel hyperloops with rooted. So this is things like Kathy's E, which people might say, Kathy's E could always interrupt teleports. Well, now you no longer have to hit a wall with it. Now you just have to hit them with the suture. You don't actually need to stun them. You just need to hit them with the E. Things like Bernice traps. If someone starts to teleport, you drop a trap underneath them. Or if you ult them, both of those will interrupt a hyperloop now.
And just Adriana's W alone now will drop.
No, that's grounded. No, that's grounded.
Oh, grounded. Oh,
grounded's not a root. And I believe that is it for the patch. I'm not gonna read. I'm not gonna read this.
Yeah, I think this is fine from here.
All right.
I think we should go ahead and go over William now, though. I'm really excited for. I know Haru's really excited for William.
Yeah, with some asterisks, yes.
All right, let's go ahead and. Do you want to go ahead and play the video first?
No, we actually that part got muted in our podcast for the last time, so we're not gonna do the video this time.
No worries. I think we should just go ahead and take a look at him then.
And again, it's hard to tell what a character can do. Like, yeah, there's a lot of numbers involved when reading over his kit. It's hard to know exactly without playing the character, but we'll try and give our best impression. I'll let Jake take it from here. You can read it, right? From where you're at, or with the
you want me to go over his abilities?
I need a drink. I need a drink.
Sure. So William's normal attacks will bounce a ball off the enemy every 2 seconds. This is his passive. It's called No Hitter. And they will remain on the ground for 2.5 seconds. During this time, his movement speed is increased when walking towards the balls. Once he picks a ball up, his next normal attack will deal an extra 15 at rank 1, 25 at rank 2, and 35% at extra damage. The no-hitter passive stacks for 12 seconds after being picked up and stacks a total of 3 times. So Fastball Q, his Q will only be able to be used when his no-hitter passive is fully stacked. That's 3 balls picked up off the ground. When he activates his Q, his attack speed is increased, and throws an additional baseball that deals additional damage for 5 seconds. The extra damage from no hitter only applies to the first ball. So once he activates his Q and throws the first ball, that's the only extra damage that's going to apply. Otherwise, he gets the attack speed bonus throughout the 5-second duration. Wind up, that is his W. William's going to throw a baseball in a target direction and summon a mound. This is going to damage and slow enemies, and as it while this pitch passes through the enemy, it's going to stun them for 1.5 seconds, and when it returns, it will deal damage again and then stun them again. So it goes out and then returns, kind of like a Swain E, and William's Mound will knock enemies back if they're in range, which is it's just a circular radius around him.
So, sorry, it only stuns them if it hits them both on the out and then on the way back in. So, it slows them for 1.5 seconds when you throw it out. If they get hit by both the initial cast and then when it returns to them, if they get hit by both parts, that's when they're stunned for 1 second.
Like REQ, except REQ coming back, you stunned you.
Yeah, but you had the stun only goes off if you've hit both parts of it. But REQ is an apt comparison.
It's like a Swain E.
Yeah, go ahead,
So the sliding catch, which is his only movement ability, is gonna allow him to retrieve baseballs that are on the ground. So there's a passive to the E, which retrieving a baseball increases William's defense for 2.5 seconds. So a little bit of defense each time he retrieves a baseball. Does it say there's a cooldown on this? There's no cooldown on it.
It says there's a cooldown. It's 0 seconds.
I mean, yeah. So William sliding to the target baseball has no cooldown. So when he throws his baseball, and there's a baseball on the ground because of his passive, he can slide to it with his E, and it's not affected by cooldown. So he's allowed to slide to as many baseballs as there are on the ground.
Well, here's what I want to know too, though, because this sounds like I'm wondering if he can slide through walls as well. I can imagine you can use this for looting purposes. Like, imagine you're in archery, right? You throw it at a bat and then you slide towards it. Like, are you able to slide through the walls?
Probably.
I mean, it's a good question. I would assume so. If his baseball is on the other side of a wall, it'd be kind of difficult to get in that situation. Although I guess if there's like terrain or something in the way, he should be able to go through it. It seems like the only limiting thing about his E would be the SP cost.
The SP cost looks fucking way too high. I don't know why it's so fucking high.
I mean, it would be the only way to limit his. So I would imagine maxing E second would not be bad. Would not be a bad thing.
Well, I can imagine people starting E because of his passive, so that way you're able to loot faster.
I actually almost
can't really loot fast.
I almost agree with that actually, because like, what are you getting from maxing Q? What, up to 20% more attack speed for 5 seconds? I mean, yeah, probably, right? I mean, the initial damage, this only happens one time. This already works with your passive, and I'm assuming it doesn't stack with your passive. You get the 35% for the first baseball. Q's getting like
it's like heart E basically, is what I feel like.
It feels like W might be the only like damaging ability. I guess if that kind of makes sense. Like,
but you see what I mean?
This is a attack speed steroid with like, this is literally just his passive. I literally feel like this doesn't need to be listed because it's already listed with his passive.
Right.
So it's an attack speed steroid. This has raw damage numbers with it, and then this is crazy. This is his mobility. Yeah, it's what the yeah.
So you would max E then and build SP drinks.
Not saying that maybe you do max Q for 20% extra attack speed is nothing to sniff at. That's almost a quiver, but like.
Right, so keep in mind you can't use sliding catch. You can't use sliding catch without targeting a baseball that's on the ground that you drop from auto attacking. So using it to loot faster doesn't really. You can't really do that.
You gain defense too. The thing is, like, imagine though, because like there are always animals and chickens in the way, right? So you throw your ball, then you eat towards it, and you keep looting, even though you don't kill the animal.
So I'm not sure how the ball will work for like where it lands, but it seemed like in the preview where the ball was landing next to you.
Yeah, it was
and
almost
not,
like a Draven
where...
Axe. It was almost like a Draven Axe. Sometimes
I think
they're totally off
we'll
to the
have
side.
to for testing to see though. Honestly.
And then his ult is
Because-
kind of like where the maxing might come into play because there's a lot of gonna be a lot of dashing when it comes to using his ult.
All right, so let's talk about his ultimate. So his ultimate is is called Signature Fireball. William's gonna leap in the air and throw his signature fireball to the targeted area. So you're gonna target like a circle. You're gonna target that area. You're gonna throw the ultimate there, and it's gonna deal some damage, explode, and then it's gonna slow enemies for 50% for 2 seconds. And enemies in the center of the impact are slowed for 80% for 2 seconds. And then 4 balls are going to bounce out from the impact, in sort of like a square formation from the center. So then you're going to be able to use your E on those 4 balls in order to try and stack your passive in order to get your Q going again.
Yeah, and I want to say the big difference. So like this character is clearly auto attack versus Rio because this character has 2 damaging abilities. So I don't see amp on this character. Maybe I'm
Right.
insane. Yeah.
No, so right, you would think, right? And I hope they did it right to where it's not going to be another, oh, because like his the weapon they came out with called Fireball, right? It built from a signed baseball, so you would think, oh, William, based on his ability, especially with signature Fireball being his ultimate, like based on the art, based on the name of the weapon, right? You would
Right.
think that this would be a William weapon, but it's an extra skill damage weapon, so I don't
with
see it
only
on
18
William at
attack
all.
power.
Yeah, so why would you come out with Fireball and William at the same time? Are you trying to say that William is supposed to be a skill damage character? If so, it's poor design for a skill damage character.
I feel like he would build Smoke Bomb, to be honest. Either Smoke Bomb or, what is it? Incinerary.
I think just Incendiary, because Smoke Bomb doesn't have enough auto attacks.
Now, would you max Q if he goes David Sling?
Mm,
For the attack speed for the Ened? Nobody? Alright, just me? Alright.
I'm just hoping and praying that he's not going to be another skill damage character, and let it be known that I don't want him to be another amp character where you just max W and throw your Ws and throw fireballs and slide all over the place.
Yeah, I mean, it's got a 12-second cooldown, and even with, like, let's just imagine you have 50% CDR. It's still a 6-second cooldown.
6 seconds, yeah.
It's still a long time.
I
So.
imagine he'll be SP hungry though. Just look at his SP costs for overall everything.
70, 90, well, 50 with, look how much SP you're saving, too, leaving this at 1 point. I'm just theory crafting. This could totally be wrong. It just seems like, God.
I think you start factory on this. You start factory chapel because you're building incendiary. You just build a bunch of Cowling Lickers from factory.
Yeah, you just get a bunch of lighters, because Jukai's coming for those like night 2.
Oh yeah, anything.
Well, actually, it might just be better to build if you go this. What is it? If you go this build, is there flower in what is it? Is there flower in cemetery? I believe. Or
Yeah,
no?
yeah. There's flowers in cemetery.
Then you should just go, if you build 1 lighter and alcohol and grab flour, you'll get the flour alcohol instead. You get 5 of those. It's actually better SP than.
How much SP does that give you? Does it give you more than
I can
Cowling
double check.
Liquor?
It's like 600, and it's it's like 5 of them, and it only takes you 1 lighter instead of 2.
That is correct.
That might be better, yeah. Although those SPs are really high. If you're sliding multiple times and you're not maxing it at 145 set, oh my gosh, 145
The Cowling
SP.
Liquor gives you 1080 SP, but it gives you only get 3. The Flower Liquor gives you 600 SP, but it gives you 5. So it depends on if you think you need that 1080, or if you think you can get away with 5 at 600.
Let it be known, I hope this character is an auto attack character. Based on his passive and his design, he is an auto attack character. Just saying. Really
Alright.
hope he's going to be built like one.
I kind of want to do a new thing, totally unplanned, but I want to start doing like a. Hold on, 1 second. Sorry, I got distracted.
I think we were supposed to be talking about the smolder effect now.
Sorry, I got distracted there. No, a new thing I want to do is put characters that we have no idea about. We're gonna put them in a tier, or like a, if there was a tier list, we're gonna put them in a tier. So I wanna kind of retroactively put Rio in a tier list and say why I was wrong. So I want to retroactively say Rio was gonna be an S tier auto attacker, and that I was wrong because she's an S tier amp character, and was like a low A tier auto attacker. So if you guys had to put, I know what I want to say for William, but Jake, what do you think? Where do you think William's gonna fall?
What do I think he's gonna fall?
Yeah.
I mean, as the state of the game is right now, I don't know if these changes are gonna help fix the state of the game. But I mean, as far as how hard they hit him in duos and squads for damage, I'm not sure. I'm not sure he's gonna be very enjoyable in duos and squads. I really hope he will be, because his kit looks extremely fun. I do, again, I'm gonna emphasize this 100 more times. I really hope that he's not a skill amp character. I mean, if
Enad maybe, or what do you feel like he might fall into?
if he's able to use auto attack as his main damage, I don't think he's gonna be overpowered. That's one thing I'm just gonna get out of the way. I don't think he's gonna be overpowered. I think he'd be a decent character on release. I would say in duos and squads specifically because of how hard they hit him. But I don't think he's gonna be.
Or something, yeah.
But I definitely don't think he's gonna be as useless as 11. So there's that. There's always that that green, that light at the end of the tunnel.
Here's my prediction on William. My prediction on William is that he's going to be. I'm hoping that actually this is a weird one, but I hope that he's a crit builder, like he builds crit chance, and he just autos attacks and tries to crit.
I suspect there might be a TR and build in his feature, because it gives like 600 SP on the item, and I don't know where else he's gonna get SP from besides just drinking and having like, I don't know, like base 500 SP. But I predict he's actually gonna be a low B tier character. I actually don't think he's gonna be insane. I think he'll be playable compared to 11. I actually don't think he's gonna be insane.
Well, we'll see if we're wrong soon.
I'm hoping the curveball. I'm hoping he's suddenly a crit character, and you try to throw balls and crit people.
Hope
We'll find out.
we're all wrong. All right.
I mean, yeah, he'll be like the most OP character in the game tomorrow. Yeah.
I think it's fair to go ahead and move on to the new effect, Smolder.
All right, Smolder. This affects OP. Please nerf. Hot fix tomorrow. All right, so let's go ahead and break it down. So this effect is consistent across all of the Smolder items. Normal attacks apply a debuff that deals true damage every second based on the enemy's current health. So, this is for a couple of items. So let's just talk about glove. I am Dylan. I have this item. I auto attack you once and stand there. You're going to take 2% of your current HP every second for 4 seconds. So you might say, oh, that's 8% of my current HP. That's not quite how it works, but I mean, that's kind of the simple math of saying that's, let's just say that's how it's going to work. This stacks up to 4 times. So let's just say 8%, times 4 is going to be 32% of your current health from 4 auto attacks.
Pretty big part of
And this is true damage. I mean, it's not quite exactly, that's not really how math is going to work of current health. It'll probably be, I don't know, about 24% true damage from like a full health character, because this is current, not max. Mm-hmm. That's insane. That's so much fucking damage from an item effect. Like, if I had the option between like Enad or this effect, I'd take this effect every time. The only exception is maybe the spear, because that spear had like 33 Enad. It was a lot of Enad on a fucking weapon, so.
I think this is what people pivot into when they play late game Dylan, because I know that with Dylan, like, she's strong. She's strong early at tree fights. If you've ever faced a Dylan at tree fights, and then from there, you don't really like, most of her matchups are like coin toss.
Really, because I think Dylan's taking first tree now every time with Lennox losing the Gluttony.
That's true as well. I think.
So we were talking earlier about how we watched the Leon get nerfed in order to curb his burst damage, and his fighting at tree is really frustrating for us. And now he has an item where he can get burst damage off of autoing.
And his ult is an execute based on missing HP, not current.
Yeah, that's true too. So this is a really strong Leon weapon as well. I can only imagine. Like,
So,
okay, so
yeah.
what other gloves users do we have? We have what? We have Hanwoo. I don't think Hanwoo hurts as much with this one, but Dylan and Leon, I think those are the two main ones who that will really hurt with.
All right, and then there was so there's glove. There is Levitine, which is the two-handed sword. Yugi got pre-nerfed for this. Other two-handed sword users, we got Jackie, we got Fiora, and we've got Alex. What do you guys think?
You know, Fiora sounds scary with it, and Alex seems like...
Fiora can, by the way, just real quick, sorry to cut you off. Fiora uses Levitine and Blazing Lance. She can use either of these, and they both have the same effect. So we can talk about Fiora in both instances. Stat-wise, technically Blazing Lance is going to be better for her, but Levitine scales better. Two-handed sword auto attacks scale better than spear auto attacks late game.
I just think the effect Smolder on Fiora sounds gross because of her obviously her auto attack reset.
Yep, and it's the same thing with Dylan with her passive, because she gets 2 auto attacks after casting the spell.
Seeing her snowball as well, she's just gonna be a pain all the way around.
And then sorry, I totally just stumbled there. Leon has an execute, and Dylan has an execute. People don't think about it. Dylan's ult actually does more damage based on enemies missing health. Fiora does not have an execute. I actually don't. It really depends on the Fiora build, because I think Fiora's gonna have a hard time killing someone if she doesn't have her normal crit builds. So usually with her crit build, she's killing people in like 2.5 seconds. So I actually don't know how good this is gonna be, because even if you go Spear Fiora, and let's say you go like a tank build, you really are kind of relying on your team, because her spell damage is not very high. So you're just kind of like slapping people with like weak autos, because these items no longer give ENAD. It's just the current health, and then when someone's low, you might actually have a hard time killing them.
But the thing is, she does have the advantage of being able to get those stacks quickly too, though.
This is stacks quickly, but again, like I said, like I don't know. Like Leon has an execute, Dylan has an execute, Yuki has a ton of damage. I mean, his ult does max % true damage, or does true damage based on max health. So I mean, you can kind of consider it an execute to an extent. Fiora doesn't necessarily have the ability to kill someone after doing % current health as much as those other characters. We'll see how it plays out, but like, because if you're going crit Fiora, right, you're generally trying to kill someone really quickly. This item is great though for fighting longer engagements against tanky characters, because crit, you're not gonna kill a 4K HP Jukai with your crit build like super quickly, right? So this is still gonna be good if you're going crit plus like just a weapon change. I think it'll still be fine. But if you're trying to go like tank and you're like, I'm just gonna bleed people to death, Fiora doesn't necessarily have the damage to kill someone after that, in my opinion.
We're gonna have to see how it goes. I don't think Alex will be quite. I don't think Alex has an execute either, so I don't really think this is something huge for him either.
I think Alex actually has more spell damage than Fiora though, and
That is true.
more in and out than Fiora. Kind of like, I think Alex will play similar to Yuki, but like with a different kind of ult. He can't really execute people like Yuki can, but he can definitely like sustain a fight in a similar way that Yuki can.
And that new duration of his E might help a little bit too.
All right, are we gonna see Levitine two-handed sword Jackie?
No.
Bleeder Jackie, come on.
That's true. She can get the stacks off. I don't know how. I don't know how it's gonna happen. I think that all the Jackie players are gonna have to play her first and do some testing, and see how that comes out. To be honest.
All right, so that's enough on Smolder. I think we covered all the characters that can build these items.
I think we can go and move on to focused impact now.
Focused impact. So we got two-handed sword. Shoot, I don't have like the list right now. So we got a bat that has a guaranteed crit, two-handed sword that has a guaranteed crit. This is a VF two-handed sword, so not like a normal one. I believe there was a hammer. Oh yeah, Weight of the World. They removed the crit chance and then added a guaranteed crit every 4 seconds.
Trying to make people auto attack.
Meteor Claymore has the guaranteed crit. Fragarak has the guaranteed crit. That's right. I wanted to talk a little bit about that one. And I think that might have been it. So let's go from top down, I guess. Fragarak. You guys are familiar with the attack power builds that Kathy does, where she just relies on her old dagger skill, because the dagger skill gives a guaranteed crit as well. Just stack attack power, and Fragrack gives a ton of attack power compared to other daggers. I think the highest dagger besides Fragrack is Vibro, and I think it's 55 attack power. So Fragrack's like a huge upgrade. And crit is yeah. Anyways, and this the cooldown on this is every 3 seconds. So it's actually relatively quick uptime for if you're building Crit of the Night and not a ton of crit chance, and just kind of more attack power items like Sheath, which give you, or sorry, not Sheath, because you have Crit of the Night. Things like
See a lot of Quiver Caddy.
like Rocker's Jackets, things like that. They
Yeah,
give
that's
like
true too, yeah. There's actually a Jackie build that's really strong right now that you go factory and go into Uptown and then you just murder everyone in Uptown.
with a Vibro blade.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's called Jackie Town. the
yeah,
nickname.
yeah, you don't go there anymore. No one goes there.
And then we haven't really been seeing a ton of Suas on this patch. Do we finally see Suas now with Weight of the World?
The answer is maybe.
Maybe.
I think so.
Do you think this actually... So remember how they nerfed your passive to not do as much free damage?
Right.
Do you think this actually more than makes up for it?
Yeah, absolutely. After she gets done with her combo reel, she has a crit. You're hitting for empowered autos, you're hitting your spells, and then you can crit. After you're done hitting your empowered autos, it seems like a lot of damage.
Bat. Let's talk about this bat real quick. Kind of as a whole. We don't necessarily have to focus on impact. It's a bat that gives 100 attack power and a guaranteed crit. That's it. It's just 100 attack power and then a guaranteed crit every 3 seconds. Bat characters are Barbara, Luke, and Magnus. Best in slot for each character. Barbara is Spy Umbrella currently. Magnus, if he goes bat, it's actually Spy Umbrella as well. And Luke is Mallet. Mm-hmm. Is this replacing any of those best in slots?
I don't think so. I think that you could build it on Luke and have some interesting builds with using the that and Creed of the Night. But other than that, I don't think it replaces it as far as like strength goes.
I don't really play bat users, but I can't really see anyone really actively building this. And like even if Magnus builds this, like it might just be for routing purposes at most or something like that. But even then, Spy Umbrella is what I believe Spy Umbrella is 3-zoner. Anyways.
Correct.
So
yeah, the interesting question is how good are Magnus's and Barbara's attack power scalings? Because interesting stat, Barbara is her highest win rate bat is still Monkey King Bar, because that bat gives 135 attack power, so it doesn't even matter getting the flat skill amp from Spy Umbrella because the attack power is almost triple. So the question is 100 attack power better than Spy Umbrella? And because I mean, her E gives her move speed. I mean, she can walk up to people. She wants to stay next to people. I mean, surely you're gonna auto attack at least once, right? I mean, maybe. And then Magnus, I mean, his W has a I think they pre-nerfed his W damage on his attack power scaling. So, I mean, you can stun people, you auto attack them once. I mean, it's not super hard to like auto attack people while you're after you're done casting your spells. So, I think it's just a math thing based on what their attack power scales are. I think Luke will always be Mallet because that thing gives 85 attack power and 50% attack speed with Grievous Wounds on its auto attacks. So I think it'll always be his best in the slot. I do think that maybe this could promote a fun playstyle, because before Spy Umbrella got nerfed because of Barbara, there was actually a really cute playstyle with Luke for skill amp. It promoted a different kind of playstyle of in and out, rather than just going in, smashing your face into them, and stat checking to see who wins the fight. So I mean, this could promote like a cute playstyle with Luke for like the guaranteed crit every 3 seconds if you're going in and out. But we'll see. I don't think it'll be his best in the slot. I think the spellcasters, it just comes down to what their attack power scalings are.
Right, I know that Magic Haru was going Magic Stick on Luke for a bit.
Yeah, that bat gives 25% lifesteal, by the way. It gives a ton of lifesteal.
It's actually 30% right now.
Oh, shoot. Okay, I'm completely wrong.
Yeah, 30% life steal and 30% skill app, plus 1 vision range, and 59 attack power.
Alright, and then Meteor Claymore, I'm just going to say when I play Fiora, I don't touch. I totally am scrolling around looking for it right now, but yeah, I don't touch Rapier on Fiora. I haven't in a while. Not in squads, at least. So, I have no comment on Meteor Claymore. I know you need a Meteor, and then you need like a flower, cards, and I think iron ore plus
ore
a
and
needle. Yeah, it takes a
That's
lot.
of things.
It takes a lot.
But the
You don't
thing
see
is-
any you don't see any Meteor Claymore Adela in the future?
But the
God
listen-
no.
Yeah, but listen to this though. It gives somebody attack power, cooldown reduction of 12%, and it has the focus impact now on this coming patch. So the next normal attack deals crit strike. So
Yeah, but
I
it no
don't
longer
know,
gives
maybe-
crit chance and no longer gives crit damage. Like Fiora generally attacks really quickly. I'm assuming your W can crit. I don't see why it wouldn't. So, and you're, yeah, I don't know. Losing crit damage on a rapier always
I
feels
feel
bad.
I feel like Meteor Claymore is the upgrade from whatever the Chiaras who build crit go into.
Voltacleto.
Right. Yeah.
Voltacleto gives so much attack speed though. It helps you get your passive stacked up.
Right. I guess I get that too. I guess it's just whether you want the cooldown reduction or not, though. And of course, remember that crit strike too, though. That's gonna be coming up with the focus impact, though. If you're going Chiara, crit Chiara.
And then Dainsleaf is a two-handed sword. It's a VF blood sample, and then it's like steel sword plus. Sure, I'm forgetting. Maybe lighter. I don't really remember.
I can double check for you here 1 second.
I think maybe it might just be rusty sword, steel, and then VF. Is there anything else you need for it?
For Dainsleaf, let me double check in here. It is iron, so scrap metal hammer, rusty sword, and yeah.
Oh, so it's not steel. It's iron sheet. Okay. But anyways, yeah. So the VF sword, I believe it's just shy of 80 attack power. Or maybe it's like 83 or 80 now.
83 for attack power.
Okay, and then so yeah, that sword now has the guaranteed crit. It's every 4 seconds though, instead of every 3, so not quite as high uptime as the dagger. Definitely looking like a Yuki item. Probably not a Fiora item. Potentially Jackie. I see it more on Jackie than I do on Fiora, I would imagine.
Just 25% lifesteal.
Yeah. So does, I think, oh, I guess Mono Hoshizawa only gives like 20% or something.
Minohoshi Zao, which is epic, gives 22% lifesteal.
Yeah. If you're gonna go lifesteal, two-handed sword on Fiora, you're probably bullying Mono. But anyways, yeah, Yuki, I mean, this seems kind of really good. I think this is potentially the reason why they took 40 damage off of his Q for just having a guaranteed crit. Just slide in, attack Q, slide out, or not slide out, but kind of walk away, wait 4 seconds. You're kind of just waiting for your W and E to come back up while you're just healing up, and then you slide back in, attack people again. Kind of just how his playstyle is. You slide in and out in solos. Seems good. Alright. I believe we've already discussed... I believe I kind of already discussed Rio on the AMP versus DPS. Oh yeah, I can pull up the roadmap.
New characters and features, yes.
We can talk about those.
I hope they give us more coupons.
Oh my god, you love those Aya emotes, don't you?
Really did enjoy those little Aya emotes and a little bit of extras that we were doing.
Alright,
Like anything free the community likes, so.
I called it, by the way. What the heck? This wasn't on here before.
HPR
my
color
God.
system.
I
This will be really good too in teams, so you know like who's on the same team, who's not.
Yeah, when you walk in as a third party, and then you're just like, wait, okay, I see like 3 people down. Who's in trouble? Who's winning this fight? And who's down for who?
Right.
Oh, and you can tell who's on whose team. I didn't even think about that.
I mean, I would hope you know who's on your team because generally the color for who's on your team is the same anyways.
No, I mean like not on your team, but on other teams. Now
Oh,
you
yeah,
know
yeah,
like
th-
those two
If-
guys aren't on the same team.
Aren't on the same team? Are those
It
3 guys
happens to
walking
us.
up that look like they're looting or actually coming to kill me potentially?
It happens to us so often where we'll kill like 3 people. Be like, wait, they weren't on the same team. It's a nightmare.
Hopefully it comes sooner, but they currently have it slated for August, the beginning of
Like,
August. So
you see a Leon coming up to you, and then you see a Sasela coming behind you, and then suddenly another Sasela pops up, and you're like, wait, which Sasela is on their team?
now you will know who's teaming. Yes, that's
Right.
the goddamn truth right there. All right, so this row right here, this is the current patch we're on. So yeah, we're not gonna discuss that. So we got Nikki coming out.
Pretty excited. You know, Haru's
Glove
excited for
character,
this too.
she is adorable. I hope I look forward to it. I hope she's just not as good as Dylan though, because Dylan will always hold a special
Robbie's
place in
skin.
my heart. Oh,
Oh goodness.
we're gonna get muted for copyrighted music. Razi's getting a new skin though. It looks really nice. Probably the best skin of the recent stuff that they've announced. New emotes, new items. That doesn't say, it's too early. New item effects. Effects stack up depending on your movement distance. So I imagine this is things like static shift from League of Legends. Effects stacks depending on movement distance. Movement speed will increase depending on number of stacks. Normal attacks will consume all stacks. Wait, what? That sounds cool. So wait, you run faster, but then when you attack, you lose all that move speed? Okay. That's cool. Okay, so, and then we're getting Thornmail.
It's like fleet footwork, but
But
the
damage
opposite.
instead of healing, yeah. And then this is Thornmail. So damage reflected and hit by normal attacks deals damage to the attacker based on their defense. I'm assuming it's the person who's getting the attack's defense. That can only be my assumption. There's no, yeah. So I mean, Magnus, max passive. Looks interesting. Tutorial improvements. It now shows
Oh,
a diagram
yay!
of their mouse and keyboard. Like, here's how you play MOBAs.
Oh my goodness.
Faster cooking time. You know what? I am down.
Jukai.
Cooking takes a long time, actually.
Oh my goodness.
Jukai buffs. I'm just saying.
Indirect Zukai
Wait, the stuff they've already done. Free last will give damage to nearby players and in the same area. Yeah, this is okay. That's all stuff they've already done. So we got Nathan Pond. So 4 weeks from now, Jake predicts he's a bat character because he's got a freaking camera.
He's got a tripod.
He's got a tripod. He just beat people over the head with it.
Tell me it doesn't look like
Maybe-
Vadra.
Wait, listen. What if I told you that he might be good, baby? Maybe he might be good in team modes. Think about that.
I would assume so. It's got cameras.
Okay, so now instead of a timer for Wick, we also get a timer for Tree, Meteorite, and Wickaline. Okay. Wait, in the scoreboard. Okay, because I know when you open the map, you can see Wickaline timer. Okay, this is going to be really cool. So this is, what, 4 weeks out? You can pick your character, your weapon, and your plan all at the same time. So...
Oh, that would be very nice, actually. And then you can switch a bit depending on.
Yeah, if you see, like, if you're playing solos, right, and
There's
like
a
Rio
million.
just came out and you see 18 Rios. You're like, all right, you know what? Maybe I don't want to play Rio this game. But right currently you pick your character and then you load and then you see what everyone's playing. Also, if your routes are let's say you're playing Fiora, right, and you're like, I want to play two-handed sword, but there's like you only have 2 builds. And they spawn in 2 different areas, but both of them are super crowded. All right, I'll play spear this game, right, and you'll swap swap the weapon, which gives you different routes that you have saved, and they all like start in different areas. So that's cool. What is this? Called Acceleration Influx Perimeter. Grants temporary acceleration between areas. I'm just gonna stop right there. I already hate this. Let's see if it gets worse, because I hate people that run away. Passing through an acceleration influx perimeter, AIP, grants you increased move speed for a few seconds. After passing through it, the perimeter is disabled for a few seconds before turning back on. So reduce the time it takes to move from area to another. It will also make it difficult to get chased incessantly through multiple areas. I fucking hate this change.
I hate that.
I hate this change.
Yeah.
All people do is run away in this.
I hate
so
this
far.
with a fucking passion.
I absolutely despise it too. It's like why it's like Scuttle. It's like Scuttle, but like they don't have to take it. It's just everyone gets it for free.
God damn, dude, really?
I think it should be something where you have to preemptively like create it so that you have to like.
Where it's like Scuttle, where, like you hack cameras and it gives you vision. Like you hack this and it gives you move speed.
Yeah, it's like console, but a different thing other than console.
Right.
I think that's so annoying though, because like imagine if you chase someone all the way through a zone to try to kill them, and all they're doing is running away. They just get away faster. Is like, okay, well there goes like my commitment to try to get that kill with my cooldowns and stuff like that. I don't think that the devs are rewarding people who are trying to chase because they're like able to get the kill off. And this is a battle royale, and it's really unfortunate to just see people running away like that.
You know what it does do though? It actually improves. I think it improves Adriana chase.
Right.
Your teammates can get to them faster, and it just I think it improves Adriana chase potential, which I don't like.
I think it's good for I think it's good for people who are trying to escape. It's also good for your teammates who are coming up as well. If it's a solo, it's really good for ratters.
Adding new NPC, Alpha and Omega. 2 types of androids will be launched. New NPC used along with Wicker Line. So I don't know if this means like some games the robots will spawn and some games Wick will spawn, or if it means like, you know how Wick spawns an avenue, right? Or like, and then it'll walk around based on zones. Maybe the robots spawn in forest, right? The same time as Wick. So I don't know what it says when it says used along with Dr. Wick Line. So it'll either be like one or the other, or it'll spawn also with Wick.
I honestly think I would hope that it would be like both would spawn together, and then you'd get one robot in forest, one robot in
Cemetery.
cemetery, and then Wick Line in avenue.
But the thing is, like when zones close, because think about this, Wick Line is a late game kind of Baron, right? That you want to get.
What if the robots give you like a shield that like recovers when out of combat? It's like you get a 300 HP barrier.
or maybe they make Wick harder to take because there's the Alpha and Omega.
I think Wick is just too easy to take right now.
I think it's just like a lesser. I feel like it should be like a lesser Wick, where like okay, you can't get first place because first place got Wick, but maybe you can get second place because you get these robots, right?
Omega. Okay.
So like, there's actually a clear distinction between second and third place.
This one I do like. I remember I've read this one before. So for 2 seconds, you're unable to use skills or attacks or take damage. You are only able to move. This is after you hyperloop. So after you teleport, you're invulnerable to damage. You're unable to use your skills or attack though, and you cannot take damage for 2 seconds. You're only able to move around for 2 seconds. So this avoids people instantly you're playing Hyunwoo. Oh my god, someone started teleporting and they're gonna show up right next to you. You immediately stun them into the wall. Well, now this means Hyunwoo is still there, right? In that situation, he still is like, oh my god, someone TP'd right here. Now you have to like follow them and play this mind game for 2 seconds of like, okay, where do I stand? Like, how do I get away from this wall? And Hyunwoo still has the same opportunity, right? He's like, okay, well, I can probably still get this stun based on like, cut off the escape, predict where they're gonna go. But at least it's like there's a fighting chance kind of thing.
Or if you teleport with your team, you can get to your team possibly, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, the thing is, okay, what if I said I don't like this? The only reason why I'm not really a big fan of this is because when you take teleports, you know the risks of taking the teleports and such like that. I feel like being punished for taking certain teleports as well, like risky teleports, you should be punished as well. But the thing is, like, if you're not gonna be able to be punished for the 2 seconds, you're able to move away. You're able to do certain things. I don't know how exactly I feel about that. I mean,
I think it doesn't change if you're grouped up as a 3-man and someone teleports into you. I think that person is gonna die no matter what.
Yeah,
But
true.
in the situation where there's a Hyun Woo there, it's a 1v1. Well, now there's a fighting chance. It's because when you're outnumbered, you're still gonna die. In a in a 1v1 perspective, I like it better. In team modes, yeah, it's still risky to teleport because if you teleport into a team as a solo, like you should die, right? And I still think that's gonna happen. But I think in the case where you teleport in a zone that has a team, but they're not necessarily all standing together, this gives you a better chance.
I will say, food truck in that tournament would have definitely won more games if this thing was in effect.
yeah, that's what I'm saying
Yeah.
too.
I think more people would have teleported though if that was in play though.
Yeah, exactly.
All right, we already saw HP color, HP bar colors for team modes. We have Jan, the kickboxer. I'm not super excited for him.
I'm not excited for him either, to be honest.
But the next character,
Unless he brings a new
The
weapon.
next character, though, I'm excited for this one.
I'm stoked. She got biddies and she doesn't have a weapon and she looks
Oh
like a
my
psychic.
gosh.
She's pretty.
She looks like she floats. Is she floaty?
Here, I'll double check.
It looks like she floats.
No,
No,
got the
she's
shadow.
standing. Yeah. By the way, will you be getting the Rozzy skin, Haru?
Absolutely. That skin is gorgeous.
And you have James from Team Rocket.
James.
I think they changed his name.
His hair got longer. So he uses scissors, which I'm just assuming are daggers.
Probably dual sword.
Dual dagger? No, I'm just kidding. Yeah, probably that's probably dual swords potentially.
Yeah, probably dual sword.
What is this? I don't know why this is your number of available items in the area.
I think they're just trying to double check it to make sure there's still enough loot for everyone. But yeah, I think that's fair.
CCTV lights is I like that. I like that actually.
I think that's pretty fair, though.
Oh yeah, what was after that? The roadmap. How are we doing on
Now
time?
the skin, the ISO skin. Will you be getting ISO skin?
Maybe.
Haru, how about you?
No.
Absolutely not.
I mean it looks like a good skin. I don't play ISOL, so
Yeah, but that Rozzy skin for sure, right?
absolutely, it's gorgeous, it's beautiful.
So you guys want to talk about Worlds briefly?
Oh yeah.
It's sad. It's just sad.
I'm gonna start off saying that was it's a very unworlds experience in my opinion. Like I would rather have seen like 5 Korean teams in USA been there because they were like the best teams. I'd have rather been like, all right, it's Worlds, right? We're gonna have I don't know, like 6 teams from each region compete in like a round robin. That's kind of like how like League does, right? They have like 3 teams from each region compete, and then you'll still see like 2. Sometimes you'll see like 2 Korean teams in the finals, right? Just because they're the best teams. I think the way they set it up, I felt like there was a very large skill gap, and I would have rather seen some regions just have multiple teams there in the end because the large skill gap kind of ruined some of the viewing experience because it wasn't like super insane high level plays. It was kind of just like some teams were smurfing kind of thing. It's kind of like felt like what I was watching.
Yeah, if it seems like they had 20 games, 20 total games. They could have split up into doing a tournament style with different teams from Korea, USA, and China, but instead it just felt like a stomp, and we got to see similarly almost the same thing over and over again, the same comps run by the same teams.
Now, what I am gonna say though, for now, is congratulations to Food Truck on their victory, of course, at Worlds, and of course, congratulations to the respective second and third place as well. It's still big feats for the U.S. team as well to be able to come out in second. I think there was a huge MMR difference. I know that COVID did affect the tournament this year as well as some visa issues. But I see what you guys mean though. With the huge MMR difference, it hurt. Kind of like, I know B streamers want 1-1 in one day on one day, but the thing was like, it was kind of painful to watch a little bit too though.
Yeah, big congrats to Dushiman, Tangmom, and Tanghyung, and congrats to Verse, Homecoming, and Piemaster for representing US out there.
Congrats on USA making it to second with that fucking Hedgen build. Jesus Christ.
The Flechette Hedgen with Creed of Night, yes. Gotta love it, dude.
It was
Sometimes
like
it's
fucking
fun
shooting
to
themselves in
see.
the. I mean, it was clear. It was obviously just a routing thing. God damn, like
But
build just hurts.
you guys
Hurts to
would've been
watch.
would have been happier seeing a damage head in there.
I would have loved to see him on Jade Charm if he's gonna play Shuriken every game.
Yeah. Or just the tree weapon, the rune. What is it? Rune. What is the name of that weapon? The tree.
Like Death Rune.
Death Rune. There you go. Yeah, Death
Yeah.
Rune.
And congrats on Food Truck, playing Adriana Jukai every single game. I don't think maybe the final game, I think 19 games they played Jukai Adriana. And I believe Dushiman was the only one that changed his character at all during
Yeah,
those
he went
games.
from Kathy, Jackie, Nadine. That's basically, those are the characters he swapped into. I think he had one Sasala game too, didn't he?
Oh, yeah, I do. Yeah, I think that was the final game. I believe they had a Sasala.
Right.
The game that USA was farming MGT, letting the Shoichi get picked up, 3 times?
MGT and J Gamers didn't have didn't
Yeah,
have a terrible showing either.
Yeah,
I think they did
I love
good.
J Gamers. Yeah,
I just think the Alex pick with the Sua, I don't know, man. I feel like they either weren't playing it correctly or
they're
they probably
good
should have
picks. They
picked it.
they just weren't very good at those characters. And I'm gonna vent just a little bit. It's not personal,
No.
but I'm gonna say it's a little personal. Whoever was on B streamers that was playing Cicella has how many games? It was over 1,000. They said something like, I think they have 2K games on that character.
Let me pull it up. Let me pull up their deck.
Disgraceful performance by the Cicella. All right,
Disgraceful.
it was-
That's a harsh word.
yeah,
I don't know.
That was disgraceful. All right, find a new character.
I don't think the Sicella was. I mean, yeah, there were some plays that were pretty not the best.
If
right?
you're not, if
pretty
you're
good.
never gonna fight and not ulting on cooldown for weapon mastery is fucking atrocious. And then literally trying to QE yourself out of every fight instead of poking with your Q, and you can still peel with your E. You can still protect yourself by throwing your Q out offensively. And if they're coming at you, you can still pull someone into your ball away from your team. I don't know why you're throwing the Q behind yourself to pull yourself away if you're gonna play that character. It was it hurt to watch. I was in pain. There'd be games where you would only see the Sasela ult occasionally after a team died. It's like, oh, maybe the team that killed this team is really low.
I mean, the only thing that hurt me was the fact that the only person on a character I played was a Verse the entire time on Hedgen.
Oh, Gobu played Hedgen a lot.
Oh yeah, Gobu did play Hedgen.
He played Amp Hedgen, and he did damage. Or they
Yeah,
blew up
exactly.
USA that one fight.
They did. They blew him up with with what they called the Averse combo, although it's just a Hedgen combo.
Then,
But yeah, no, Hedgen definitely good for squads.
some questionable Alex ults as well was bothering me. It's just it hurts to watch people play characters that you play. It hurts to see someone at quote unquote Worlds, right? I would. This wasn't a super high level tournament. There was I would say 4 good teams. I think MGT was good, good enough to represent the region. J Gamers was good, USA was good, and Food Truck was good. No Chef, Skaz in them. I mean,
They were filling in. They were
filling. They weren't. I forgot. They were filling in for Europe, I believe. And then B streamers, they weren't good. They were getting smurfed on by everyone. They were. That was an example of the new player experience of getting matched with higher MMR people. That was B streamers. Where was I going with this? Where did I start with that?
It hurts.
You were hoping that Japan
Oh.
gets more players in order to actually have more competition, so they can be more competitive in Worlds. That's
No.
you
What
were
I was
saying.
saying was it hurts to watch people play characters that you play well, and then you see them not perform as well. Like, what I'm used to seeing, like in League of Legends, right? It's like, okay, well, this character, this player, you know, it's like, oh, Aatrox is meta, so like they take the time to practice Aatrox. It's like, okay, well, Alex is really good in squads, right? So you imagine the person's going to take time to practice on Alex, and I just see these ults like whiff or go off in like what I would consider weird or bad locations, or just come out late overall after someone's already died. It's like, it just hurts. It hurts for me
Yeah, I
to
was
watch.
disappointed. I was disappointed we didn't see any taunts into the Suicune, into the ultimate, because that's what we want to see. I mean, that would get a big reaction from the casters. We just didn't see it.
I would also like to point out we didn't see Sylvia in the tournament. How do you feel about that?
Yeah, we don't talk about that.
There were a lot of characters that we did not see in the tournament that I feel like
Rio had to have been banned tournament, right? Because she had just come out.
She was banned, but then I feel like we didn't see Heart. We saw Heart one time. We saw Heart and Nadine and Magnus one time. But other than that, like we didn't see like Chiara, Adela.
We did see Kiara. We saw Alteris play Kiara a couple of games.
Oh, that was a couple games. What is it? Did we see any Han Wu that game? Barbara?
We did not see Barbara actually. That's an interesting point. Yeah, we didn't see Barbara. We saw Zahir. We saw one game of Zahir.
Isol. We didn't see Isol at all.
Just the dual swords are just dominating teams right now. That's just is what it is, and
so
it's strong.
Instead of the characters we didn't see, the characters we saw every time. I believe there was an Adriana every single game. I believe Jukai might have been missing from the last game, maybe not. But yeah, Jukai was every game. We had Jackie every game, and we had Yuki every game.
And we also had a Hedge in every game.
That's true. Yeah, we had Hedge in every game.
Yeah.
So
overall, I felt like Worlds went pretty, for the first time. I think it went okay. I think it was, it's a learning experience. The developers, they're all still learning from it as well. And then of course, like, I'm hoping that this will strive like Japan to open up, more people to want to play in Japan as well, to kind of represent their nation. And we see like more people step up and maybe grow from the experience as well. I know that for sure because I've messaged Skaz before, and he also said that U.S. and Japan are pretty good friends as well. They made a couple international friends, and everyone's really friendly. There's no like big rivalry or anything like that. So something kind of nice between everyone, that they're going to be kind of still learning from each other as well, seeing how other players play in different regions as well.
And also, I don't know who to fault more for this, Hoko or the casters, but Hoko needs to put some more reps in on Yuki for squads. Because the casters are like, oh my god, this guy's mechanics are insane. Every time, I can count more times that Hoko fucked up, sorry, I probably shouldn't use this strong language. I can count more times Homecoming messed up a fight rather than did really well in a fight.
Yeah, some of the electric slides past the enemy teams were interesting. Some of the coup de grace were completely off their mark, but it's his character, and maybe he hasn't put as much time on it, and maybe he's been practicing other stuff. I don't know.
I think also
Maybe they were just hitting the bong on the hotel rooms. Since they weren't playing on a stage, they were just like, oh, this grass is too good.
Well, maybe it's also like a kind of spur of the moment thing too, because sometimes when you play for something that big, you feel like a lot of pressure on yourself too. So maybe it's the pressure thing as well. But I think we're gonna see them grow more as players as well, and hopefully see a lot more Like it was exciting to watch as well. But there's gonna be more and more metas coming out, more characters coming out, and of course, like the metas change. Hopefully, the meta changes a little bit too. So we'll see how everything goes and when the next world comes around. And I feel like maybe Team USA or a North American team will win next season or next year.
Yeah, so I'm actually, speaking of season, I'm wondering, is that meaning the next Worlds will be after Season 2? Because Season 2 ends in a couple months. Because they're not doing a yearly season thing like League did. Season 2 will be over in September or October. It'll be really soon, actually. Only a couple more months off. Obviously, this term happened during season 2. I don't know if you would consider it like the season 1 tournament, but I mean, if it's every season, then it would be at the beginning of season 3, right? So you might be looking at October and November, or they're gonna wait a full year. So my guess is they're gonna do it after every season. That is just my guess because they're gonna do like as many events as possible, try and keep like the community engagement up. So I think they're gonna do another event in the beginning of season 3 as well. Is my guess, but I don't know.
But yeah, I think it's been it was an exciting one to watch still this year though. So for sure, I'm hoping to see more, and hopefully, like I said, the meta changes, new characters come out. We'll have to see how it goes, and of course we just have to wait on the announcements from Eternal Return as well. I think we can go ahead and move on though from this discussion.
So I haven't watched any of these videos, but I'm aware that in those Pi customs, the iHeart Pi customs, they've been doing custom game modes, correct?
Right.
What do you guys think about Eternal Return having alternate game modes as like limited time events? Because the player base is not there right now. There's no way to have permanent alternate game modes at the moment. Like I said, I don't know what Pi's been doing for their customs, but like the idea of like having custom game modes. I think I'm only aware of one thing, right? There was like 2 Jackies going around trying to kill the rest of the lobby or something like that.
Right. It was like kind of like a tag and hide and seek where Jackie would be able to build damage items, and everyone could only build boots and something and run around and traps and such. But the thing is, like, I know what you're talking about as well. I don't think that we have a huge enough player base for different game modes right now. Especially not non-US, not North America. I don't think we have a big enough player base to kind of implement new game modes. I think right now they're gonna kind of focus on the main game, and is try to grow and populate that. And then once they do have that grow more, maybe perhaps they will come out with different game modes. But I don't think it's in the near future. I think that's way more in the distant future as well.
What about just a new map? Or sorry, go ahead. Did you want to comment on like limited game modes? Because it's got things like Nexus splits, right? That League does occasionally, and it's for limited times.
Right. I think that we're still trying to get enough players in order to have ranked up for duos and squads permanently. And I think at that point we should start releasing new game modes. I think PvE game modes would be fun. You know, like 3VE games. You know, or 2VE games, or even like a 5VE. That'd be fun.
Like a MOBA.
Kind of like a MOBA, yeah. They like could literally.
Tower MOBA.
Yeah, tower defense MOBA.
Yeah. Do you remember? You guys remember? Was it Odyssey? There was like they had like what? It was like when
we loved playing that.
It was the Odyssey event, right?
That was really fun. Yeah, for League of Legends.
Yeah, it was like there were custom upgrades to like character abilities. Like Yasuo would shoot out like 3 tornadoes and things like that. I don't necessarily think that. I actually don't think the dev team is very large for Eternal Return, but I'd love to see something like that. Like they just pick like 5 character, like 6 characters. You can go in as a team of 3. You play through like an event, you know, or like
release it
release
it as an event, and then like have like release skins for it as well in order to like incentivize playing the event in order to unlock the ability to get like avatars or something.
Yeah, and I think.
Well, the other thing though, as well though, that I'm thinking about also with the new thinking about new game modes or new maps or something like that. I'm wondering if they'll just add in as the characters increase, if they're planning to make Lumia Island just a little bit bigger, because you can see like where they can just put in a puzzle piece, right? Because if you look at every square of the actual mini map, you can see where they can just immediately like squeeze in another new zone. Like, hello, this is now like a new zone. This is now city or something like that. Or this is, rather than temple, this is now like, rather than chapel, here's another church or something like that. I'm wondering if they're able to just add in a little bit a new sections or something as well. And of course, I'm still waiting to see what they're planning to do with Research Center as well.
How many players would you guys love to see in a single game? Like, assuming the spacing is about the same as the current game, like you're not gonna just throw in like Sorry, let me mute. I gotta clear my throat. You're not gonna see like 40 players on the current map, right? Because it'll be too crowded. But let's say the map's bigger. You know, the zone's closed down at an appropriate pacing. How many players would you love to see at the end of the game? Let's say you win the game, right? How many? What's like a feasible I killed 30 players this game? I don't know. Maybe that's too high, but what? How many players would you guys like to see if it were to grow? If it were to be a bigger map size?
For this type of MOBA, I don't know. I don't see it as feasible, and I also don't even think that I would want to see much more people on that map. Just because it would take so much processing power for a bigger map with MOBA engine, So
I think 18, the 18 people is fine currently on the map, including yourself. I don't think any more than that because of the items, and unless they're planning to give us more items to be able to build more things, I think that 18 is a very fair number as well, and then as it continues to decrease.
I just think for squad specifically, only having 5 other teams to fight is a little small.
yeah, I think that I'd agree with that. But like I said, just you can't really I mean, if what they add more to the map, right? They add 4 new zones and then add an extra team, so it'd be 21 people. I don't know.
Well, if they put in
Or
4
I'm sorry.
more zones and add in 2 more teams, I think
My
that
math
would be
was
fair.
I think my math was, is it 21? It'd be 21 people, right?
18 plus 3 plus 3. So, yeah, 20. It's 25 actually. No, wait, hold on.
It'd be 24
sorry,
if you
so
added
it's
6
24,
players,
yeah.
but I'm just saying if you added an extra team. What about a 6v6 game mode?
Might as well just make it 5v5 and call it League of Legends.
It's true.
What about a 3v3 mode, but it's an arena, no looting, and you pick your battle rights after every round?
That would be like in Apex. They have this in game mode right now, arena, where you buy your certain upgrades, buy your certain abilities, and choose your certain weapons and go into fight. And of course, it's only one area. So I don't know how that would work in a MOBA, to be honest.
It's called battle right.
But no, I think that the game mode just right now, because they actually got rid of squad ranked as well, just because the population base in NA is just not big enough as well. I think that's something that will need to be worked on first before new game modes are even looked at.
So I was kind of curious about the PvE thing because that might bring in new players. But then at the same time, I don't know if those players necessarily would ever transfer over to the actual game at the same time. It's just people who want to play a MOBA but PvE. It's oh, this game has a PvE mode. It's kind of like roguelike. There's progression. I don't know.
I think the recommended I think what will help new players is I know that they have recommended plans and such like that, but I also think that besides just having recommended plots for new players, if they have little arrows that suggest where the characters go next, because I know that with routing it's a little bit difficult with new players to know what they're doing. They don't really quite know where they're going. You'll have the numbers 1, 2, and 3 and such like that right on the map. However, if it had that little reminder arrow to go, hey, you should go here next,
Oh wait, it was in the
weapon
roadmap.
towards this direction might help.
Hold on, they have this. Hold on, give me a second. Where is it?
With the keyboard, the mouse and keyboard.
Boom. That's our new player experience right there.
Right. I mean, I see this and I understand this, but the thing is, I don't quite know yet. I feel like a little invisible, a yellow arrow suggesting where they go next, might help new players too.
So speaking of new players, sick transition. What do you guys think about the new player experience? So obviously they have things in the work just to teach people how to move and play the game, right? People who have never played MOBAs, which we know of a couple. We mentioned not their names. We know of people who this is their first MOBA and have no league experience. So I mean they're addressing those issues. I feel like there's a bigger issue with this game for new players. Would you guys happen to know what maybe I'm hinting at?
The player base. the fact that there's not enough players, so new players get matched against really good players who should be playing against other really good players, and then also really good players having second accounts to play on.
Right, just so that they can get into a game though. That's the thing too. It's not that they. Sometimes it's not because they want to just get easy kills. It's just that their lobbies are just not filling up, so they end up just making a new account to play against a new player base. And then even then, imagine this: like, there's a running joke right now in the in-house server saying I'm minusing 1 or I'm minusing 17 when I smurf or something like that. And it's like
Right.
basically
Because
making
you're
people not want to return.
Yeah, you're affecting player retention at that point.
Right. Because it's like, oh, imagine, like, I go into this game and I lose every time. Like, it makes me not want to play no more.
That was kind of like how I felt with the fucking League of Legends experience. Is like coming into this game, getting my ass kicked every time. Like, it wasn't as much of a mental battle as I'm sure some other people have like overcome. But losing is, I have no fun losing. I am not the type of person that enjoys losing. I actually tend to like when I lose a game, I tend to like clam up, not say anything, because I that is the most unfun thing for me ever. I want to win every single game to the point of I would say it's a flaw. I have a hard time enjoying a loss. I think the most recent time I had a fun time losing was uh, I had a Jukai build where I had like inventory issues, and I was just laughing my ass off the entire time because I'm like, this is ridiculous. How much not even food issues. It was literally just like my spear, like all my components. I was like, oh my god, this is the most ridiculous thing I've ever seen in my life. How many items I have in my inventory and I can't even manage it. I was like, that's probably the only time I've actually laughed like losing a game. But yeah, for new players coming in, I'm sure if the people who think like me are probably leaving relatively quickly because they're just like, oh, well, I just lose every game. I have no fun here. But some people can enjoy improving at a game. I think that's why I stuck around because I was like, all right, you know, I've already committed to learning the items and whatnot in this game. I'm gonna enjoy improving at this game. So it's like, okay, I'm losing every single game. Oh, guess what? I won this game, or guess what? I got 3 kills this game. You know, normally I only get 1 kill. All right, improvement. So yeah, when people are getting matched against higher ranked players that know what they're doing, losing is definitely a detriment to keeping players around.
So yeah, but I do want to point out that we did like quit the game for like 2 weeks when we started. We couldn't handle it. We just kept dying over and over again, like every round.
Like, quit the game for even longer than you guys did, if I recall correctly. Um,
I don't
when
remember quitting the game. I'm not gonna lie.
Well,
We did.
when you, there was a time where you guys took a
I was playing a
break.
lot more solos when we started playing this too. So I don't know. I don't really remember.
Right.
I think
So
maybe we might have
for
played
me, though,
another
I
game.
personally recall quitting the game for a bit. I think that after a while I just wasn't having fun. We were losing a lot, and I just didn't understand the game. And so I ended up quitting for a certain period of time. And it was only until I started watching tournaments with you guys and watching you guys play for a bit and trying to understand the game to digest it. But I really had to digest the game in order to learn how to actually play it and efficiently. And even then, I find myself as just a adequate player. I'm not amazing at the game. I have like information a little bit, like not even a lot of information. I don't know everything in the game. But the thing is, like, some of the information that I know has taken me to certain places.
Would you recommend this game to a new player who's never played a MOBA?
I would recommend them League of Legends first, to be honest. I would recommend them start out with League. The tutorial in League of Legends is so much easier.
I think League of Legends is just an easier game to grasp. There's a lot less of a learning curve, especially now since League of Legends has given this. I don't know if you played recently, Brian, but
No,
there's a
I
thing
haven't.
where, okay, so well, if you play the game now, it shows you what items are good to build. It's very intuitive and
Against,
very
yeah, against new
very
certain characters.
yeah, it's really good. It's really good. So basically, it tells you what's good against what characters. It gives you 3 options to build.
Is it
X
accurate though?
item,
Because
X
recommended
one.
plans have like
Yes,
never
It is.
been.
It's
yes,
actually accurate.
really accurate.
Uh huh.
Very good.
So that's something that maybe this game might help with as well. Like, if you're approaching the late game, it might recommend, hey, you might need a Lunar Embrace based off of XYZ characters you're facing. I don't know, but
Well, like I said, the game it's easier to build items in League because you just buy them from the shop. This game you have to
Mhm.
find them around the map, and it's kind of overwhelming at first.
And that's where the PVE game mode comes into play because people can craft and they're basically playing for spots. I know people who have played like 100 or there was someone that commented it was like, yeah, when they started playing this game they played like over 100 bot games before they played the actual like their first game. They said it actually helped them because I mean there's a lot to this game, like crafting, like you can totally learn that in a bot game.
Oh yeah, you could totally learn how to play this game a lot better from playing bot games than League of Legends playing bot games for sure.
Which is crazy because I would agree. I think League probably is an easier game to learn, and there's like way more character matchups in that game because there's way more characters.
But overall, I think that, like I said, I wouldn't recommend this game for new players. I probably would recommend League and then this game, if anything.
I'm gonna take a shot in the dark. I would recommend Battlerite over this game. You don't even have to kill minions in that game.
That's true. You don't have to farm, don't have the last hit.
Good
Don't
luck
have
with
to
your
worry
key
about
times though,
everything.
because they're gonna be worse than this game.
Right. Dead game.
I think the good way to get more players into this game is to just shovel them from the League community because they're already familiar with League of
Yeah.
Legends. The community is super toxic and they're getting tired of it. Just shovel them over to Eternal Return.
I think that's
That's
a
where
lot of
Skyra
work.
comes in.
Yeah, that's a lot of word of mouth right now that people are doing. So a lot of people are using word of mouth to move people over into this game, and I know it's a lot of it is an old player or person who's played herbs before teaching a new person who's played MOBA games how to play herbs and understanding the concept of it. Really smart people, really people who are very intuitive and know a lot about games will really catch on to this game probably a lot faster than people who play MOBAs casually. But I think that if it wasn't the case, then it might take them a little bit. It might be a little bit more difficult for the newer players still.
Yeah, we definitely. I think the whole goal is to just get bigger streamers and bigger platforms to feature the game more.
And we need Shroud, the well-known,
Yes.
well-renowned MOBA player.
Yes, well-renowned MOBA player Shroud needs to play
Eternal Return.
Eternal Return. Yeah.
And then he can bring over Stewie 2K, another renowned MOBA player.
Yep.
And then
I see that-
what's that fat guy's name is that Stewie always makes fun of?
I don't know who you're talking.
Mo. That's the guy. We need Mo to come over here.
What do you have pulled up right now? This looks pretty interesting too. The CCTV lights.
I don't know. Yeah, I don't know what the hell this is. This looks like some dev tool. There's no way this is in game, right?
Yeah, that's probably a dev tool, but what that is basically like the red means that no one has camera, green means that someone does.
And what does this one mean?
I think that's just before.
Oh wait, no. So this is off. So this means no one has it. Green means you have it. Red means enemy has it.
Turned off.
No, red means enemy has it. I think, right?
But you can both have it and an enemy have it. So what does
Yeah.
it turn?
That's true.
Purple.
It turns red and green, makes it purple. Yes, sure.
I don't know what color red and green makes.
Red and green makes brown. Actually, it's poop color.
Yeah, because green is a product of blue and yellow, right? Because it's red, blue, and
Yeah.
yellow.
So
Yeah,
it's
and
brown.
green is a product of blue and yellow.
So when you have
I know
red and
paint.
green, it makes brown.
All right, Bob Ross. Go beat your paintbrush against your desk a little more.
Red and blue are purple, and what are the last two? Red and yellow or orange?
It's yellow. It's red and yellow or orange.
All right, enough about colors. We don't talk about colors.
Right. But I think this is a good place to wrap it up on. I think that we've kind of discussed everything as a whole. We've discussed world. We've discussed the current game, what we're thinking about the future game. I think this is a really good spot to wrap up our podcast on.
Yeah, is your computer gonna crash on us like it did last time?
No.
Do you want to do your outro first, just in case?
Oh yeah.
Where can
This
people
has
find you
been-
more at?
Oh yeah. This has been Iva Senpai, also known as Jess to Brian, of course, and to Haru. You guys can find me on Iva Senpai at Twitch TV twitch.tv, and I stream herbs now. I used to stream other games. I don't anymore. Maybe sometimes I stream Apex. You can also catch me on Twitter as well. It's just Iva Senpai as well, and I use a 1 instead of an I.
All right, and then you can find me, of course, if you're watching live. You already know where we're at. Otherwise, you can find me at twitch.tv/kissmywaifu in VR. Kiss is spelled with no E in it, so it's just KISSD. And the Twitter, of course, is going to be, I believe it's, let me actually pull it up real quick. What is our Twitter? I believe it's, this is really awkward that I don't know our own Twitter. at podcast PTA is our Twitter handle. So you can catch. I believe originally the plan was to do a podcast every week, but after looking at how small the minor patch is, yeah, that's not gonna happen. I knew it was gonna be smaller than these big patches. But my God, there was like, what, 7 changes in the last one with a couple of bug fixes? I was like, there's no way we're doing a podcast on that. So yeah, you'll catch us again in 2 weeks. It'll be Wednesday. It'll be, again, at the start of maintenance. So it'll be 9 p.m. Central Standard Time, 7 p.m. if you're Pacific. And, of course, 10 p.m. East Coast. So yeah, thanks for listening. We'll go ahead and catch you guys next time. Thanks for watching and listening.